I'm at Grace Church Road. I went to Waynesboro to bring this man down to this address, and now he's trying to force his way into a house. I'm afraid to move my vehicle. Just placing in there.
It's inside the house now?
Yeah.
You have your doors locked?
It's open. I'm in a van.
You need to make yourself safe, okay? Even if you've got to drive away from there to get away from him and close that and lock that door. Do that for me now, please.
Okay, wait a minute.
And the scream, and it's me by myself. Come on, Lewis, turn on your cam with me so I don't feel too lonely. There we go. Hey, guys, so this is a surprise live, isn't it, Callie? Callie still has her mic off. There she goes.
Man, it didn't click for me. Hi, guys.
I can't go on before you do. I've got to wait till you pop on. It would be rude.
True. Thank you so much there. So we just thought we'd do a live. It was a YOLO thing, wasn't it, guys? YOLO.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear? Yeah. Or did you say YOLO?
I said, uh-oh, because you froze for a second. I think it's my internet.
Oh,
we're getting the effects of the storm out there right now, so it has been popping a little bit tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no storm going on here. I like how Facebook says, reminder at 6:45, you're going live. Okay, that was like 5 minutes ago, Facebook. You're a little bit off on there. So, yeah, so we thought we would YOLO, do a live. I was just kind of doing nothing most of the day. Put out a couple little videos, nothing much. Sitting there looking at, BG and his face and stuff like that. Then I was like, yeah, Louie, you want to do a live? Hey, Callie, you want to join us?
Sure.
So we're going to talk about the Murder Sheets podcast, at the start of it. And I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen that. Callie, you listened to it, right?
I did. I have to listen to them at like double speed, though.
Yeah. Right. And
Kelly, what platform do you listen on?
Just through my podcast app.
Yeah, what I use Stitcher. I was wondering if you use Stitcher or something different.
No, I just have the Apple app. Through
okay.
Apple.
The reason I'm asking you is, in the beginning, and we'll get into, but just a real quick question is, in the beginning they talked about somebody during his school years, and they said we're going to talk about later on in life, but later in the broadcast. And then like the 17-minute mark, somebody starts to talk, they cut it off. It's like they cut a piece out. And then later they mentioned about that conversation with her, bring us back into 16 and 17. So for some reason on Stitcher, they removed a part of the broadcast. And it was the only part I was waiting to hear from the beginning. So I didn't know if they cut it out on yours too, or if it was just a Stitcher issue.
I think it was probably Stitcher, but I can't think of what they would have skipped out on at that point. I'd have to go back and listen.
Yeah. Okay. It stood out quite, it was a weird cut. So it made me have to go back and replay the thing like 3 or 4 times to try to find out why it was like that.
Yeah. There was only 2 things I pretty much got out of it, though.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot, but the one thing they brought up that they were going to mention later, which was the 16 and 17 year mark, was the one thing that got cut out on Stitcher. So I'll have to try to find it somewhere else and see if it's there too.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Just looking at my thing here.
Yeah.
Good enough. Okay. Shows we're going live. I didn't share it anywhere. So whoever shows up, shows up. Yeah. People at True Crime Web, he just was doing a live. And CD had a live today. CD had about 600 people in his this morning.
Yeah.
On his live. But he actually made it to it this time. Instead of maybe he meant to make it for today, but I don't know. But yeah, and then True Crime Web, Steve, and then Duty Ron showed up in there. And Men in Blue, right? Men in Blue. Okay. And so yeah, I mean, Duty Ron has always been from like the Suzanne Morphew case. I think he was about 50K subscribers, or a little bit less, I think, when he was in the Suzanne Morphew case. So he's grown, his guests have grown. Anyways, always really loved Duty Ron myself. Just a great all around person. I just like people who speak their truth, Yeah. And he speaks his truth, and he does it in a good way. Maybe I don't necessarily like, certain guests, but but whatever. I mean, if the guest wants to believe it's Ron Logan is still the BG or something, go right ahead, I guess. But each to their own, right? Each to their own. But anyways, yeah. So go ahead. Let's talk about the Murder Sheet podcast and what your guys' thoughts were on it. Well, let's start with Callie first on this one, since Callie, you're joining us, and let's hear your thoughts.
I like I said, I got about 2 things out of it. One being that they pretty much said that the arrest of Richard Allen had nothing to do with the tip being called in. I thought that was really interesting, and I thought, there's been so much speculation out there about that, everything from his wife to his mother to, as they said, even a brother that he doesn't even have. And it turns out, according to them, they have confirmation that it was basically from just the police going back and revisiting the investigation. And I'm not sure I totally believe that, Lewis. On Sunny, I'm really curious what you think about that. But that's kind of the major thing I got out of it.
Okay, so sorry, your question. Sorry, my bad. I was too busy looking at things.
No, that's okay. Did you believe that they got Richard Allen by going back to revisit the investigation? My kind of thought is, if that's true, then what the heck was all this Anthony Schatz stuff going on? But I'm curious what you guys think about that, whether you think that was truly the police going back and revisiting what they, the tips and so forth, or did they find out about Richard Allen from our buddy KK?
You know what, Lewis?
I've got a theory on that. So
go ahead. Yeah, let's hear that. And then I'm reading
between the lines from what they said, because they said it was not from a tip, but they didn't mean that. They meant it wasn't from like a recent tip. His wife didn't tip him in. His daughter didn't tip him in. It wasn't a neighbor or anything like that. Because they mentioned tip later on when they say that one of the detectives revisited the folder from when he was originally interviewed, which might have come from a tip that they stumbled upon when they were going back through evidence. And then they bring a good point up that, it doesn't mean that they missed it in the beginning. And this is why I thought it was interesting. They said, because it could be that they found out new information that made them go back. And then when they read the file, that new information made that stand out. And then that made me think that, okay, maybe Keegan Klein is not aware of what's going on, but he knows something, or maybe he does know and he's just been keeping his mouth shut. You know, maybe there is a connection there, and he would never spill that when they kept questioning, because in his mind they never brought up the other person's name. And then all of a sudden they questioned him because they found that file. Maybe it connected somehow to Klein or one of the accounts he was using. So then they go in there, and it's not like Klein was getting a deal because he gave information up, but they went in there and cornered him and said, look, you know, we know about Richard. You need to start telling us what's going on. And then maybe that's when he gave some info. So it could be that they found the file folder from when they did the original interview, because they do bring up that even though Richard's wife has been telling people that they interviewed her husband back in 2017 because they were just interviewing everyone in town, that's not the real story. The real story is that Richard actually volunteered, went in, and offered to give them his whereabouts and why he was at the trails that day. So it seems that somebody in the investigation found that folder, went through that folder, put some pieces together that weren't there before, and said, we need to look at him deeper and see what's going on. Maybe that in detail confronting Klein and pushing him, and that's why things look like they're connected, but they're not really Klein giving them up. It's the police finding that missing piece and then squeezing Klein for info. And then that gave them maybe enough to go in there with a warrant.
That probably sounds the most plausible. Is, you know, I mean, Carter said that they would need, you know, well, I mean, this is when they said that that they would need 60 to 80 people to go back in once, you know, someone was arrested or what. Like, I was literally just looking at that interview. But it makes sense if they went, it makes sense if they were like regurgitating the old stuff and then coming across it, you know, like, again, sometimes eyes at different times, different points, you know, you see something that maybe wasn't there. So it does make sense that, I mean, it's been a, you know, 5.5-year-old case. So it does make sense that perhaps they were going through this file and that it was like, oh, you know, like this, okay. I mean, because you said, I think, Louis, that he was the only one. Was he the only, or was he the only one, or is he just one of a few that literally said, look, I was there that day. I'm just coming.
It's been mentioned, it's speculation, but it's been mentioned that he's the only one that actually went in there and volunteered to say he was there, other than the people that they identified that were at the trails.
Right.
So it's been said that he's the only unidentified person that wasn't questioned for being there, that went in and gave his name up voluntarily. But, you know, when you look at it, I mean, that doesn't incriminate anybody, because let's say you were there that day and you find out about the murders, and it's like, wait a minute, I need to let them know I was there. Maybe I saw something. I mean, it could just be an honest, I went in there to interview because I was there, you know, and so you can't convict him over that, because if you look at it with a, you know, other advocate side, it could just be an honest person that wanted to go in there and say, hey, that happened, I was there, I didn't see anything, but, you know, if there's anything I can come up with, let me know.
You know, well, hey, Under Your Scar says, why would KK get 5 charges dropped and 12 revised?
Exactly.
What's your thoughts on there?
My thoughts on that, red herring, doesn't have much weight on the case. They've got a huge case against him with so many charges and so many pictures. Let's say you've got 30 charges, like they said, and 15 charges are going to put him away for, you know, a long time. They don't need 30 for the case, so they might remove the ones that are questionable. Like maybe they located the people in the pictures and they're not wanting to testify, or they can't find the people that are in certain pictures they charged them with, or maybe they find out that those were voluntary and there's no reason they can convict on those. So anything that's going to make the case harder to try, it's easier just to drop, and it's almost like giving him a freebie without actually giving anything up. So they might go in there and say, look, if you give us information on this, we're going to wind up dropping 5 of these charges. And then he winds up volunteering more information, goes into negotiations, but those extra 5 charges were not going to change his time in prison.
So 1 second here. Callie, did you have any thoughts on that, or do you just want to go to the next question there?
I think it's probably true that they didn't have as much to lock down in those charges, so it was easier just to let him go. But I mean, under your scars, I would have to agree. I mean, the timing to me is just so odd. Starting with the river search, what we think was found in the river, the time maybe a couple weeks for forensics. I feel like if they did get, let's just say, a phone out of the river, maybe there were calls to Richard Allen.
Yeah.
Then they might have gone back to the files and said, hey, wait, we did talk to this guy at one point, and then it just went in quick motion. I personally just cannot get past the whole, we need your help with Anthony's shots. We learn
Yeah.
about KK, and then he's now saying he was there but not involved. If that's true, I personally just can't get past that connection. And I feel like out of the two clients, I agree with CD. I mean, Tony was the violent one. So maybe KK did the internet searches, and maybe he was waiting in the car stoned or whatever he was doing. But maybe he, dropped TK off to go take care of business with this Richard guy. I mean, I just can't rule that out right now, the way it's looking.
I personally don't think that TK and KK were actually physically there.
Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
I feel like that it was a lure at the end of the day. Maybe perhaps I don't see it at all. I don't see, I see KK being a lure. I don't even know where Tony's involvement comes in, to be honest. If any, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe got a whole bunch of drinking buddies right there. Between RL and frickin' Richard Allen, and like I said, I don't think it will ever be as twisted as it's going to be definitely a story, but I don't think it's going to be as crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be your typical. Usually it's always drugs, money, this or whatever. I mean, first of all, I don't know. I really am holding my breath very tight right now up until I see what's in the affidavit. And I want to see what crap comes out of all that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's going to give us a lot of answers, but for now it's just hypothetical guessing off of what we do know.
Right.
Like if you ask me, my hypothetical, if Klein is involved, and this would maybe make more sense where Klein didn't have anything to give until they found, the file on Ricky again, is let's say Ricky does this, whether it's just him or it's 2 or 3 people or it's planned, and he takes all these pictures, and he has some connection to Klein through that Dropbox, and he puts a picture up there, Klein sees it, they make some kind of arrangement to buy the pictures from him, and then that's where Tony gets involved with his son, and that's why they go to Vegas. They set up a deal to go sell that stuff. Maybe they don't really know Ricky very well at all. It was just a Dropbox connection, and that's why the police couldn't put the two together properly. And the evidence is gone because they went there, they got rid of it, and then finally when they had the guy's name and picture and they show it to Keegan, he finally gives up the fact, we dropped the media device in the water. We sold it already, but if you need that, it's there, and then we'll cut a deal. Mm-hmm. And more of a more realistic possibility of just 2 people that passed on the internet because they're both in the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just I'm still in my own thoughts,
Yeah.
I'm really biting my tongue at the moment with with certain things.
See, that scenario still keeps your possibilities active.
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely believe that when this is all said and done, the Klein side and the Delphi murders are absolutely interconnected. Absolutely. And so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just don't see it any other way. I think that again, there's a reason why everything's happening in sequence, in a sense, and why we've seen a volcano about to erupt for quite a few months now, we saw it happening. Anyone that didn't see it happening was hiding underneath a rock, because I'm pretty sure that we all feel that anyone that was in here, that anyone that's in here now, you could just see it. You could see the tension building, that answers were going to come at some point soon. You felt it, and it's all derived from the Wabash search, and stuff like that. And then going forward, it's all in sync, in line with exactly how it's kind of playing out. My issue is the BG versus Richard Allen. And again, but that's something that I'll talk about on another live. I didn't show you the picture, Callie. I did show one to Lewis and my group. And again, I sit there and I go through my pictures, and it's not a subject I'm really going to get on today. And I'm just like, how? Like, dude, you cannot tell me that all over this guy's face that I can keep finding the same ass markings on KD, but I can't find them on RD or RA. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Even the ones I showed you today, it's like so identical. But anyways, besides that, I just feel like I want to see the affidavit. I want to see what comes out from it. And I just really want, my biggest goal here for myself personally, I want the justice for Abby to be told, and I want the truth to be told. I don't want to be fed a bunch of bullshit. I want to just be fed the truth of what happened to Abby and Libby, who was all involved. And I don't want anyone to escape any sort of prosecution or whatever for that. But I know that that's fantasy land, but I just want the truth of who killed them, who was all involved, and why were they killed. That's it. That's what we want to know. Do you know? Whatever names pop out of it, but to take away, like I said, to me, the whole Kurt's line and just wash it away like nobody said anything makes ridiculously no sense to me at all. I can understand it if I was to say one person, like if I was to say like, okay, Kurtz is talking and I just heard it that way, but when you have Chris Mathis, Kurtz, Nick Edwards, you have them bringing up everyone's names, even Michaela Babcock's name and stuff like that. And there's some truth there, right? I think it was you, Callie, that said to me, where there's fuel, there's fire, or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so I just want to see how this is going to play out. And a good start to that will be when the affidavit, which will probably be likely unsealed, probably on the 22nd. Carter said a couple weeks. That falls right in line with what he said, so I wouldn't doubt it if it is unsealed on the 22nd. And then we can go, okay, well, here's another movement towards some information. And as for somebody said about the backyard stuff and that, well, I don't think that was really ever true, to be honest with you. Did you guys ever feel like that was true about the freaking neighbor and like maybe?
No, I never thought that there was a theft. I mean, the guy is too quiet and collective with this, if he is involved, to then make a mistake by stealing something out of a neighbor's shed and having that issue come to fruition. I mean, same thing there. The warrant would have to be specific to that item. They wouldn't be looking or taking the things that they found. I mean, that they would not have the right to look for that stuff and take it if they found it with a warrant for a stolen item.
So just to go back to, hey Brent, long time. I'm leaning towards they won't unseal it. Well, are you guys leaning towards that they will unseal it or won't?
Well, my thought is, if they're going to unseal it at all, they're going to wait to the hearing on the 22nd, because if they did it any time before that, it would be like they made a mistake.
Yeah.
So if it comes out, which I really think it will, it'll be on the 22nd, unless by the 22nd he doesn't have representation yet, and then it might have to go a different route. But then they start looking at issues with the case, and I don't think they want to open up a trap door where there'll be a problem. This judge is way more qualified. She's not going to let there be any mistakes that can cause any issues with the case. So if she feels that it needs to be released so there's no issues later on, it's going to come out. It just won't be until the 22nd or whenever they have that date set, if they change it.
And my thing is this: if they felt like there was going to be a bunch of faulty alibis in the beginning, I think it would have taken possibly before 5 years, 5.5 years to get back to them, you would think. A couple authors bet the careers on developing what DP is a suspect. Yeah, well, but the DP line, that whole bullshit line, I think that I'm not even going to say the channel. But anyways, a channel that I don't personally watch, but I remember when that whole DP crap came out, and it was like everyone was like ants. Go follow that. Doesn't they were just following anything that they heard, and I just remember like they created that timeline. There's a difference. They literally were removing timelines to make it seem like what's her face, the daughter Megan Allen and the other girl, as if she wasn't on the bridge at this time, and if they took away this because she lied there, then somehow DP and blah blah blah. They literally created that timeline for him, as if to go, let's just take this little pawn and this little chess piece and this, and let's move it here. So, oh, checkmate, dude. And then, right. And then they, like I said, had to back off of it because really there was just no substance to Daniel Pearson whatsoever. That one made me laugh, actually.
Well, you know what happens is when you've got somebody that's lying because they're covering up something else, everybody just jumps on that one inaccuracy and looks for everyone that they can pull out of it, and then they convict him in public court. But that's how those things start.
Yeah. Just to be honest, when I made the video the other day of that phone call jailhouse conversation that the person did with the brother, I'd actually taken out all the gossiping crap. And so I'm sitting there and it's uploading, and then it goes green, ready to go, right? And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, wait, why is it 10 minutes long? It was only supposed to be like 4 minutes long. And so then I recut it back to where it was supposed to be. I uploaded it and it goes yellow. And I'm like, what the hell's up with that? So that's why I released the 10-minute one, because in YouTube land, you got green, yellow, and red. Red means it's not monetized. Yellow means it's very limited. Green means you're good to go. So I'm like, hold on. I literally only released a portion of it when it went yellow. So I was like, screw it. You guys can listen to it all and decide for yourself. So I just was like, left it. And because normally it was just like, I wasn't going to put the gossipy part in there because that was just somebody relaying. Although the fact, of the person being in the Westville, Indiana, whatever, correctional center. But then the rest of it would just became stuff off of, Reddit or the internet and stuff that they had heard, which the person did say. But I usually cut that crap out. But I was just like, screw it, yellow. Here we go. I don't feel like going for a third try. But anyways, watching with sound off. Oh, okay. Watching with sound off. That should work for, I'm not even sure who that would work for. So you just like to stare at us, Mr. Belvedere? Anyways, let's see what anybody else is saying here. Callie, do you have anything that you want to add in here that you're seeing?
Yeah, I just want to add that I agree that the neighbor story about stealing tools was absolutely crazy. I agree with you, Anna, girl, my Anna. 100% stupid. I also have to say I'm really doubting the source that told them that they brought the Macy's bag and the books and the different things out of the house, because we all know they should be using evidence bags. And I find that really odd. I've only seen in one case, and that was the I'm running out of her name right now. The runner in Memphis recently that got killed. You saw an officer pick up a garden tool and walk out to his vehicle, probably because that was large and he needed a special bag. But the items that the neighbors were claiming that were coming out of Richard Allen's home wouldn't be carried out like that, right, Lewis? I mean, that's crazy.
It's hard to say, but I can't see them carrying stuff out fully exposed. But it doesn't make any sense. But there's more than one person saying that things came out of the house. So could we say that it was improperly handled? That could be a possibility too.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Not Ali. They have not mishandled one thing in this Delphi case in the last 5.5 years. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Shame on you guys. Shame.
They brought up that other information with Klein on murder sheets today too, which I found they made a good point there. I guess they reopened negotiations with him, and that gave him an extension. And what made a lot of sense with that is they said that after the last two and not getting anywhere, they were probably not going to entertain this again unless he actually was giving some real important information, whether it's connected to Delphi or not. It looks like maybe he's cooperating now, whereas before I know he was kind of playing the game. I don't think he's as dumb as he acts when they interview him, because he does seem to catch some things. So I'm wondering if they're at the point now where that's going to actually come to an end and they're going to actually have a trial.
Huh.
I think see through it can be done with the DNA back in a certain amount of days. I've seen on Heavy D Sparks, they went to a DNA lab locally, and they were literally told a lot of stuff can be turned around in 24 hours. But the priority that's got to be put on it is intense. And when I'm talking about the scenario for the video I was just referring to, that was privately paid, which also can make a difference. But in a situation like this, if they have something, let's say a souvenir, they could rush that through pretty quickly. And Alexa can speak to that, I'm sure, so much better than I can. But there are times when they can rush things through within 2 weeks. And I'm not sure about the forensics, but I think as well, these days they can get that a little quicker than we think too.
Yeah. And just a reminder, you guys, tomorrow night, Alexa will be on. Alexa's a handwriting and profiler. She's still does some work in the field. She was doing it for about 16 years. She has twins. That's about when she left, and then she still was doing it like off to the side, helping others. But she'll be on tomorrow night with that, and Alex Voorhees and Jasmine will be on tomorrow night. Jasmine, sorry girls, Jasmine is Alex's girlfriend, and she'll be joining us as well tomorrow night. And so Alex is the one, if nobody knows who Alex is, Alex Voorhees is the one that handed over some information to the LE with the hacked, like basically hacked into his one account or whatever account and handed him over some information. Now, Alex is not that guy that likes doing a bunch of lives. He's just not. He's a behind the scenes person. And but I'll let him say what he wants to say tomorrow about the stuff that he's been working on and doing, should he wish to. But mostly what he does is stuff that's behind the scenes. It's not stuff that you just go out there and go, hey, I handed over this, or I handed over that, or this. He's really more of a, like when I ask him to come on lives, it's just like, yeah, let me think about it, right? And so, but anyways, so tomorrow night, Alexa will be on, and Alex Voorhees and Jasmine. So that will be a great, hey, there's CD, there's Buddy. We'll be on, okay? So that will be a really good show tomorrow night. So don't miss it. And again, if you're not a sub, and anyone watching this, if you're not a sub, please subscribe, because we always have it on subs only here, okay? First of all, it just really keeps the trolls out, and I've just left it that way. It's like a subs only thing. So if you don't want to sub, then that's fine. You can just come in and listen, and that's it. If you want to partake in the chat and stuff like that, or because you love Lewis, or because you love Callie, or me, or because, hold on, I have to show you a picture. Let me just.
Are you going to actually do that? What I'm thinking?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to show one. I'm just going to show one.
Lewis, are you really surprised?
You really, I mean, there shouldn't be anything.
I'm surprised it wasn't the opening thumbnail for the video.
Oh my God.
So that's our Adam. Okay. I know CD, quit being jealous. I know CD would rock those glasses himself. Right, Sharon? Hey, support with stuff. Love you, girl. Hope everything's going good with you and your daughter. But our Adam is on a jet plane. He's got about 12-hour flight total. He's off to Portugal. And so he wanted Deb to know that this is his most unfiltered picture that he could find of himself. I mean, there was a few more. There was
Yeah,
one
see,
that's
I thought the other one was the unfiltered picture, the real picture, but
yeah.
I guess
Was it the cowboy hat one or the ones where yeah.
no, the one with his chains and not wearing his hair.
Yeah. Right. I didn't show those ones, but no. So Adam basically said, "Hey, look, if anything happens to me and this, hot dog of a plane goes down, I just want it to be known that this non-filtered picture is the last one that you're gonna see of me. All right, so just enjoy that." So, anyways, Adam, and if you're listening to this now, love you, buddy.
We were all like giving him tips last night on, okay, if this happens, go live. So, you're safe. And I predict he's going to come back in love and just
Right.
happier than he's ever been.
I predict a bar stool, passed out, and a lot of drinking on his.
That's probably
I want to see some better pictures than the one that we saw in the other video. I just, you know what? All I can think about was Adam passed out on that chair. And I'm like, dude, like, how did that not hurt your back?
Yeah, I know.
Like, you're legitimately just like, I don't know. But anyways, so I just wanted to love you, Adam, if you're watching this live at some point, or maybe watching it now. So, yeah, Adam's on his airplane. And yeah, so he'll be back on the 21st, I believe is when he lands. So perfect timing for Adam. But anyways, okay. So like I said, so tomorrow night, Alexa, Alex, and Jasmine will be on. So back to this stuff, eh?
Sure.
Yeah. So what do we want to talk about now? What are we seeing here?
Well, I want to just suggest, since CD's in the house, that when this live is over, try to catch his. He had a couple nuggets in there of information from his sources. And he also referred, Sonny, did you hear about the picture that he has? CD has a picture of Becky Patty's sister hugging.
Yes, I have that. I've had that for like a week or something.
I haven't seen it, but he did talk about it in his live earlier. And, that brought me some interest.
It's funny because I was given that picture, and maybe even CD was probably given it at the same time. I don't know, about a week or so ago, at least. And it's funny because I woke up thinking about that picture, and I remember thinking, like, so they don't know the Allens, but her sister, Becky's sister, is hugging Kathy. That's the picture you're speaking of, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheek to cheek, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so I woke up actually thinking about that picture. And I was deciding to myself, do I say anything about it? Do I just leave it? And there's CD. Yeah. And if CD knows he can come on this live tonight and talk about it, he has the link.
Come on,
too.
brother.
Now, when CD was live today, and thank you for showing up for your live, CD. When CD was live today, I was at first I was watching him for about 10 minutes, and then I just was doing something on the computer. So I was legitimately just kind of playing, like listening to him off to the side on my iPad as I was doing a thing. And then, I'm sorry, CD, it's not because you made me tired. And then I was like, ooh, nap time. Because my husband gets up at like 4:30 or in the morning. And usually I'm up in the morning from 4:30 till about 7, 8, 9 or something like that. And then I have a nappy time. So it's no offense to CD. I just was listening to it, watching it for a little bit. And so, yeah, so I know that he was a good live. Like he had like 600 people in there. Yeah. Okay. We definitely got it the same day. I didn't share it until I knew I had it in the hand, though. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's so funny, CD, because I'm glad Callie brought that up, because that was just crossing my mind again this morning, that picture. And I'm just like, just stuff like that you're like, but I thought you didn't know them, but I mean,
I remember my drinking days back in, when I was younger. You could be in a bar talking to somebody, getting a little liquored up. I don't do this anymore, guys, just so you know. But back in the day, and you leave there like your best best friends with them. So in her defense, maybe it was just a fun night of, we're best friends by the end of the night, even though I did not know you before I got here. But, we just don't know the history. And the CD had some excellent comments about that on his show. And he also had some good information, which I'm not going to spoil because I want you to go watch his live later, about some things. Pardon me?
Isn't it over 3 hours?
I don't know.
CD, I'll fall asleep to you tonight, dude. Do you know approximately what time that was at, Kelly? Can you just pinpoint them for me?
I'm gonna refer to CD. You can type in the timestamp on the live here. Yeah, I mean, he was also on Sleuth live, I guess, the night before, and during that he spoke about it as well. So, which maybe is more condensed. It might be easier to find it that way.
It's all good. It's kind of like I joke about our lives too, right? Like nobody's gonna usually. There are some people that are dedicated to watching these 4-hour lives or whatever. Some people, but for the most part, most people watch about 20 minutes of a live, maybe half an hour. It tells you that because YouTube lets you know how much your average watch time is and stuff like that. That's why the more condensed sometimes little things that come out. I'm not really fussed about it myself. If people watch, they watch. If they don't, they don't, in a sense. And I mean, I know, Lewis, I could make all these little clippings and stuff like that. And I know short reels are going to be popping out in January and February is when they're going to be rolling out so that people can get actually paid for the little shorts that they're going to be doing. Like those are like those little short ones that are like under a minute long or whatever, and stuff like that. And, YouTube's always creating different things, but I tell you, right, Lewis, there's not enough time in a day. Sometimes you swear to God, because I do got to get my naps in there too. But
it never seems like they're that long. It's just you're at the 1 hour mark and then you're at the 4 hour mark. I don't get it.
It doesn't take long to get to that 1 hour mark. I swear.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. But some people are in a rush. I'm not a rushy type of person myself. It's like, like if you want, like when Steve goes live, Steve from Toronto, when he goes live, he's all business, joking around, but he's all business. I'm sorry. I was not built to be that way. I just wasn't. There's no way I can tame myself enough through 53 years to be structured in a way that's like that, like my twin sister. It's just not going to happen. I'm just a YOLO type person. Let things flow how they flow. If people follow, they follow. If they don't, they don't. It's really up to them. If they like us, they like us. If they don't, and if they want to fast forward through the video, I don't timestamp things. I'm too lazy to do that shit. I really am. I couldn't be asked to go because our live is kind of all over the map. I can't be asked to go listen to myself. I don't even watch my videos back. Do you know? I can't be asked to timestamp.
You know why that is? It's because everything's straight off the cuff. You never come in here with much plan. It's wherever the live takes you.
And that's how it should be. That's what's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like exactly. It's like I don't like structure. I just don't. I never have. I never will be that way. I just like to YOLO it. And I like to hear things organically. That's why you never hear me really, even with like when the Psychic Sleuth was on. We talked very little because I like to hear things organically as they're being said by other people. I don't like to be like, did that really happen? You know how people do those thumbnails where they're like, and you're just like, ugh, those ones drive me crazy the most probably because it's just so, but
you bring up the Psychic Sleuth. I went back after talking to her and listened to the auto writes that she did from like 18, 19, and 2020. And so many things that she pulled out fall into place with what's coming out now. I've never had somebody that hit so many points that didn't look like they had a structured, pre-done video. So I was kind of impressed with the backlog on that after going and looking.
Yeah.
So I recommend people go take a look at the earlier ones. Don't just look at the one from May and try judging here and there. Look at the ones from a few years ago also, and you'll be impressed. I was really impressed with it.
Good. I mean, there she is right there, actually.
Oh.
Wait, Nick's RA's lawyer. Right, Nick is. Yeah, Nick McClelland, psychic, Rochelle. So Rochelle's in the house tonight, guys. Again,
Hello.
Hi.
Rochelle, let me just see here. Let's see here. Whoops. Nope, my bad. Rochelle,
Hey,
I'm gonna
Fig.
add you. Hey, who's in? Oh, hey, Fig's in the house. Hey, Fig. Oh, shoot. And I was
You got the
looking all
dream
about,
team in your chat.
right? They're in the chat. That's the problem. They're in the chat.
Come on up.
No, Rochelle, I just gave you mod right. By the way, Rochelle, that way you can drop your link. So feel free to drop your link. Rochelle was on here the other day, you guys. She did that reading with and Angela Thomas, psychic medium that was on here previous that had done a Delphi read on the Paranormal Zone TV or Paranormal TV. She'll be on here on the 17th coming up. So there's a lot going on again tomorrow night. Alexa, Alex, and Jasmine will be on, and one day Fig's gonna come on again. Yeah, right. UNCD. I'll just sit here and listen to UNCD talk all night. But anyways, nice to see you, Figgy. Fig's a great guy too. I love great people. I just do.
Yeah.
Karen, right? Yeah, right, Callie. We love great people. We like
Excellent men. They really are.
boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for? See, and then yeah. So that's what we need. Steve doing that when the live on his life. He needs that tone right there. Can you just imagine him like fist pumping? You know,
Take the Halloween video with the wig and then put that music to it.
yeah,
And you would have a great short. It would probably go viral.
Oh, probably. That's so funny when he had that wig on.
Yeah.
I should just put a little fist pump in there for him.
There you
go. So anyway, going back, so on CD's live, you were saying, Callie, that there were some good things that he brought up. And probably because you love me, you're just going to pinpoint them a little bit more. Like, go ahead. So what are the things that you took away from CD's alive? Like a couple more things. Well, I'm sure there was a lot, but
yeah, there really. I mean, and I was working, so I was kind of sporadic in and out, and then listened to it after work. But you know, he talked about the fire pits being, and I don't want to steal his thunder, so this will motivate you to come on panel, CD. But basically, he has his own sources over there that probably none of us or other channels maybe not be working with, and they did some more searches, and they were able to confirm the searches at obviously Richard Allen, Tony Klein's father's house, and I want to say even Tony Klein's house. And there was an extra visit recently, like Saturday, to a certain cousin of KK.
Yeah.
And that could be interesting as well.
Are you Travis Trexler?
Yeah.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis Trexler's always been that person that's off to the side, and you're like, dude, where do you fit in the whole?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because for the longest time, I thought KK probably opened his phone, threw it in the bush, let it run on, we'll call it not viewable to us for most people, material, left it running on autoplay so he could go do whatever he was going to do if he was ever at the bridge. That would explain his phone being pinged there. It was playing. I think they said what it was playing. Maybe he wasn't even physically there. He just stuck the phone there, took off, knowing he wasn't going to bring his phone to the bridge that day if he was in fact there. But the cousin, really, nobody knows. You're right. Like, why is he coming up again? And why Saturday? So that's interesting to me that they would pick a weekend to actually go focus on this guy. To me, that's kind of telling I'm not sure how to explain it, but that to me shows some relevance. Hi, Alexa.
That's what I want to do. Somebody get some handcuffs on me now.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
Steve.
Oh, hold on. CD's in the house. So where's Steve? Alexa, I didn't know I was doing a live tonight. we were just YOLO. I was like talking to Lewis, and I'm just like literally talking to him on Messenger, and then I'm like, dude, you want to do a live? Then I'm like, hey, Callie, you want to join us on this live? We're gonna talk. And they're just like, yeah, YOLO. And I'm like, sweet, YOLO. Like kind of like what your kid said. So, Alexa, I didn't know it, but if you want to come up, you always can, Alexa. So just let me know on the phone. You can message me right now if you want. Let me know.
She's the
Let me go.
crime
What's that?
scene queen.
Yeah. Anyway, love Alexa. So Alexa, you guys, that's the our profiler there, the handwriting expert. Shouldn't you be doing something else, Alexa? Or are you finished? There's Figgy. Um, yeah, poor CD has been so stricken with so many different family members of himself having viruses. And he showed me a picture of that little tongue tickler. Okay, that tongue tickler. That thing looked like a frigging like a big peanut in the back of his throat. Like, I'm not kidding. It was just like you're like, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Look at all these subscribers subscribing right now. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, Ash K. But yeah, so this tickler that he showed me, it was like, dude, like I literally when CD's like, I'm gonna show you a picture. Yeah, it was horrifying. Well, right. I open up my messenger because he's like, I'll show you something, and I go back to it. This freaking big mouth is like right there as a picture with a tickler sticking at me. And I'm just like, oh dude, how are you even swallowing? Like that thing was huge. Anyways, not a pretty picture, poor guy. I can how if you get, your sore stuff. I know we're sidetracking, I don't care. But you know how you get your sore glands and stuff, and and then you're having a hard time swallowing. Well, imagine having that big ass sucker that looks like a peanut in your mouth and you're trying to swallow. The thing's hitting the freaking ground. That's how big it was. Like, I'm not even kidding. But he's taking his antibiotics, and don't worry, good old chicken noodle soup will cure anything. Anyways, now I have no time. You have me working on the letter. Right. That's what I thought you said, Alexa. But yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Go ahead, guys. I'm just here for the ride, listening to you two. I was gonna say, was there anything else for murder sheets? So was there anything else for murder sheets that you guys wanted to bring up?
I think we touched on a few things. There was a lot in there too that was just past friends or acquaintances from when they were in grade school and high school, and things that were just more fluff. But I think we brought up the things that were actually talking points.
Don't you ever wonder, though, how do they get that? I mean, I know that we all know there's a source, and I don't need to know who their source is, but how is it that they get that information? Like, immediately, all the rumors were going around, and then all of a sudden, it was not somebody who was recently tipped in.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes me curious because, and then there's rumors about people knowing what's on the PCA. How?
Well, you noticed in those, was it a couple weeks ago when they were talking with Doug Carter and how he thanked them for doing what they promised and not putting information out there that they had. So it definitely seems like they've got some sort of a relationship with the state police.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys, just looking at something really.
And somebody put that in chat earlier. It does make you wonder, just like Jennifer Coffin-Daffer doubling down on Ron Logan. We have to realize at this point some of these things the defense attorney is going to use.
Yeah.
And then it kind of makes me nervous, like the stuff Murder Sheet puts out. Don't get me wrong, I like the information, but I have to wonder, how is the defense attorney going to use this?
Well, in the past on Murder Sheets, they've said things in a way that was hypothetical and not really doubling down on it, and people took it the opposite way. But on the one from today, they were pretty adamant about this is what we know.
Yeah.
So that came off with some integrity behind it. So it makes it hard to question it because they have been right on a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Just
I got a question. Did you see my comment in chat?
Who's
mine?
In our messenger?
No, in the live chat. I put something up, but it came with a red mark next to it, and it's not highlighted. So I don't know if I accidentally got muted or something, but I've never seen it come up that way before.
Type in chat for a second again.
I'll try something again.
I didn't accidentally mute you, did I?
No, that one went through. The other one didn't, though.
I don't
But
see it
actually, I'll just say it. I said Alexa should jump on and give us a preview of the letter read.
yet. Yeah, no. I still don't see it, though.
Yeah,
there it is. You said hi.
that was the one I just did, which came through fine. But the other one, it came with like a red hash, and it was blacked out. So I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know. It's YouTube sometimes. Can't explain them.
Usually it is YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube is a very finicky fellow.
Yeah. All I keep thinking about is I feel like we're watching a movie or reading some sort of weird novel with this case. It just seems very, strange. Like just everything about it, Like it's just everything about it. It's like wacky doodle in a lot of ways. Like nothing's just simple. Like even Doug Carter, and I go back to this because on the press conference day, he says, the reporter says, like, is this is the guy on the bridge the same one that, is the one that killed the girls type of thing? And he's just like, let's just say that the judge signed off on the probable cause, type of thing. And then in the interview the other day, it's just like, yeah, well, I can't really answer that because that's part of the investigation,
So I have to tell you, not real specifics, but after listening to the murder sheets with that little bit that they did put out, it made some things connect in my head that make almost all of those comments from the press conferences come together. If that hypothetical is correct, that these are connected but not really connected, and the whole KK thing was a way of getting, possible videos out there and sold, and they had no intention of knowing what was going on beforehand. And Richard just happened to be the one that was doing this. That when they make the statement, we need that one piece. Well, they need the piece to connect who this unknown individual was that actually did the crime. And you want to know what we know. Well, we know who sold the stuff, but we don't know where he got it from. And you start looking at those statements, and it actually starts to make a picture come together in my head.
Thanks, Louis. Relaxing sleep aid. I like your picture, and I like your name because it reminds me of my relaxation channel that I started, and I've maybe have 4 videos on it. And I keep meaning to go back to it, to be honest with you, because I think everyone needs a little bit of balance when it comes to dark and heavy stuff, and then they need a little bit of balance. But anyways, you're saying I'm in and out. Are you still thinking Katie is involved? Curious. I like everyone's take. There's so many, nothing's off table. Just because you're asking it, I am going to kind of pull up a picture that I was looking at today. And it's not to do with the fact that the BG has a brown cigarette butt in his mouth and Richard smokes white tips. But, he could have switched, correct? That could have happened. Even though heaven forbid. I'm just, I'm not sure exactly where Richard's involvement is going to share with this. But when Doug Carter made that comment, kind of did piss me off a bit. Because I was just like, and then you literally kind of said that you couldn't talk about it. But did I actually bring in that picture? Let me just, give me 1 second. I think I sent it to myself. I was on my iPad. Okay. I have been spending almost every night looking at different pictures from crime scene. And this is something that we can talk about again on a different live. It becomes about the fact that there's a cat at the crime scene from what I'm seeing. Okay. The cat that's right beside one of the victims' bodies, with the knife, is like this cat doll, a cat stuffed animal, with a little choker thing on its head, like this, almost like a a harness going right across like the eyes and right here. And I can see the little skull on that cat. That's how detailed. And I've shown you guys, and I think it's from the other day. Let me just pull this up. 1 second. Stop screen, share. Okay, so we'll go back to here. Okay, so this is what I want to know. Okay, you guys watch me and watch me carefully on this one. Okay, and it's up to you guys to decide. So this is the one that I was working on today. Now, remember, take everything with a grain of salt first and foremost, right? You can make your own decisions. When it comes to me looking at pictures, I can only take certain markings off certain pictures, and I have to go to other pictures for other markings, because it just depends on what picture I'm using, what am I comparing it to, or what I'm trying to show. So in this case, I'm trying to show this right here. I'm trying to show those 3 dots right there on the BG's chin. Okay. So why is those 3 dots? Right? So it's kind of like, to me, well, why is there 3 dots just like that on the BG's chin? Now, I'm not showing it, even though the BG has a mole smack in the middle of his little cleft ass chin. I'm not trying to show that in this picture. I'm just trying to show you something like this. Dot, 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 dot. So, right? So I'm not trying to show you any other thing on this picture, even though I could sit here and probably find some more if I really truly wanted to. But this isn't the picture to do it. This is this one distinctly I have to take and go, okay, well, why is that there? And why is that in the same, lineage? So that's the stuff that I keep looking at. Like, show me something that's on Richard Allen that matches to the BG. I'm not saying that Richard Allen isn't part of this whole hocus pocus shit. I'm just saying, why would Garrett Kurtz, Chris Mathis, Nick Edwards, why would those people even bring up Delphi murders or say involvement in other people? Why would they be stupid enough to do that? Like, people sit there and go, oh, because, like, they want their fame and stuff off the, talking about the murders. And don't you think that's a little bit ridiculous, though? Like, if one person's talking about it, but you don't think that it's funny that KD's holding a pig 1 year to the date, that there's a pig at the crime scene, that there's you know what I mean? So that's all I'm trying to say is, how can all of that stuff just wash away like it doesn't exist? So a cat, wouldn't that kind of mean, if you think that there's a cat, don't you perhaps think that cat perhaps means catfishing? If you have a cat staring at one of the dead bodies, perhaps. It's a thought. It's plausible, correct? It's plausible. So if you have a pig there and you see someone holding a pig, that's best friends with Garrett Kurtz and Chris Mathis. So where does this Richard Allen dude to me fit in? Because I, unlike the whole DP line of, making up a freaking scenario to make it fit your specific thing, I didn't make up that Garrett Kurtz was talking about it. I didn't make up that Chris Mathis. Those were coming out of their own mouths. I didn't force Nick Edwards to message me and tell me about the Paladinos and about Sheena and all that. I didn't say anything. I mean, heaven forbid these people all fucking know each other too. So where does this twisted mess lead us? We'll find out. Yeah. That's simple as it is. We will find out. So am I off of the KD line? Absolutely not. If it is proven that, I don't even know that. I keep trying to prove to myself every night, was I wrong? But if I'm wrong about that, that would mean that almost like I'd have to detach everything that's been said, the stuff from the crime scene. Why is there a mask that looks like KD's mask at the crime scene? Why? He's holding up a pig. There's a pig. There's a mask that's just like the one on his Facebook. How can I sit there and take all of that away? Well, I can't. So I have to watch, just like everybody else, the answers to come with that. So that's my thing. How do you just wash away things that people are truly, legitly just saying? I mean, if people want to keep thinking that RA is the only person involved and, woo, we got our man, and by all means, go right ahead. It's your right to think whatever you like, but it's my right as well to think whatever I like. And if it comes to fruition that I was, like sitting there freaking tweaking out and which I don't, by the way, but according to Katie, I do. But if it ever comes to that, KD was was KD friends with Chris Mathis? I can't tell you who his friends were or weren't. They've had 2.5 years prior to me ever coming to this case to dismantle their Facebooks or take away friends. Garrett Kurtz, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, Alexa, to be honest, about the Chris Mathis. I know Chris Mathis, Garrett Kurtz, Chris Mathis, Garrett Kurtz, Ashley Garth, Talitha Beckley are all part of that, the Nicole Bowen murder. I can tell you that that Renfro guy that came out as an alias, heaven forbid, right? Heaven forbid that Renfro guy has Talitha Beckley, all those badass druggies on their friends list plus killers. Heaven forbid that should happen. Like, was that just coincidence? Maybe, But why is it that Renfro chick, Allie, who's on other people's Facebook, why is she on John Galico's, which is Keegan, Tony Klein's friends list as well? Like, really, does the circle never end? I just want some clarity, like you guys do. I just want clarity. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, who's did what, blah, 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 blah. Just people that are involved, are brought to the fullest extent of the law. I don't want the death penalty. I think that that's too good for somebody. I want you to suffer. I want you to take it up the butt each and every day. Seriously, I want you to pay for the crimes that you did to those poor girls, those 2 innocent children that should be alive today. And I just want justice for Abby and Libby. There's not one person in here. I don't care who it is. This was my purpose for Abby and Libby. It wasn't about you, or you, or you. It was for Abby and Libby, just seeking justice. That's it. And I think that's how you guys pretty much feel, probably, eh? Just justice, just the truth to come out, why those girls were killed, and justice to be brought to those involved. Correct? Amen. Preach it, Sonny. Amen.
Well, Doug Carter talks about a piece of the puzzle that's missing. You just listed out probably 10 pieces of a puzzle. It's a matter of what puzzle pieces are they working with that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that's going to be in the PCA. What we're going to see in the PCA is Richard Allen's involvement. That doesn't mean it's the entire story. And I think that's what Doug Carter's alluding to when he keeps saying, someday I'll tell the story. Wait till you let me explain this, It's not all going to be in that document.
Going to be a fascinating story. And I want to see what this fascinating... Oh, I just went blurry. 1 second, I'll be right back. My camera just for whatever reason went blurry. But yeah, fascinating. And Nancy, they are. And thank you very much, lady. But I'll be right back.
And Alexa, I think you were asking about Alex. Sonny announced earlier that Alex and his girlfriend and you, I believe, are on tomorrow night. Is that correct, Lewis?
I'm not sure what the schedule is for those. I don't know if they're on the same day or if it's going to be 2 alternating days, but
we'll have to ask her when she comes back. But I'm almost positive.
We will have Alex and his girlfriend on, and then I know Alexa's getting that letter ready. So
yeah, I thought it was the 3 of them.
That's going to be a good watch. I'm looking forward to seeing her outlook on that.
Oh my gosh, me too. She kind of gave some hints in CD's live today, but I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah. She is the queen of the crime scene, 100%.
Yeah.
We totally value and trust her. And I can't wait, Alexa, to hear what you have to say about that handwriting. All I can tell you is some of his O's were squirrely on the top. A little bit of a hook on the top. And if I remember right, you said if the O's look like that, you don't want to be friends with them.
What I noticed was the Y's hooked to the right instead of the left. I thought that was interesting too. But like I said, I can't wait to see what she's going to say.
Yeah, and the F's. The F's look really funny to me. I don't know what she's going to say about that. Yeah. But from what I remember her talking, there was something up with every time he used the letter F, it was way overpronounced.
Yeah.
See, we're good students, Alexa. We're good students.
Yeah, Sonny, can you go over the list for the next live? Who's going to be on and what day?
Well, for tomorrow, it will be Alexa and Alex and his girlfriend Jasmine will be joining us. Okay. Alex, like I said, talk about whatever he wants to. But most part, it's really going to be a lot about over that letter and and talking about that. And And as for other than that, the 17th will be Angela Thomas, and she's a psychic medium that was on here before, and she was on Paranormal Zone TV with Noreen. I always thought that it was very jaw dropping just because I didn't know who she was, and I heard her, and I was like, "Oh shit, lady! Like your stuff's just like what I've been thinking." Pretty much, it was pretty much on verbatim almost. It was kind of eerie. So we're gonna see what Angela Thomas thoughts are when that comes around. But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Well, tomorrow's going to be a big show, so we should have a good turnout. I'm looking forward to it.
No, Alexis, she's just gonna be on the live with Alex tomorrow. There's no qualifications there. She's just going to be joining us on the live. So, nope, you're the qualified one there, Missy. Not I, not them. Alex has his own qualifications, but yeah. And I mean, could be SP74, but that's a whole lot of group paranoia. Just saying. Alex Voorhees is interesting person for real. Alex is a great guy. We talk all the time, and just a great guy. Nice, great guy.
Do you think that he knows if, when he was getting all the emails lined up for the FBI, do you think he found anything with Alan that got turned in that maybe did also help connect things?
It's a possibility. You could have a stray email or some communication that they never expected to come back to them, and he found it.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
Wouldn't that be great?
It's possible. It's not like they're going to write back and go, "Hey, thank you very much."
Yeah.
I know that there was a program that he sent, and let's see if he wants to talk about that tomorrow as well. It's a great program. Should they ever use it, but again, I'll let him talk about that tomorrow night. Should he choose to. But either way, he's just a behind the scenes worker, like I said, it's not like he's this person looking to be like this hero in front of the camera, in a sense. He just does things that he wants to behind and tries to offer assistance of what knowledge he has and can offer.
That's great.
So it's kind of like Gonzo. Gonzo does a lot of things, and he offers a lot of help to a lot of the cases, or cop facts, but they don't necessarily put it out to, you know what I mean? They're not really YouTubers in a sense. They just do a lot of the stuff, but they don't share it, because each to their own how they do things. And yeah, so like people would probably be floored if they knew how much Gonzo and that did, crazy ass. And yeah, I mean, honestly, but it's, you know what I mean? Like I enjoy the outlet of talking with people, but most importantly, I enjoy the outlet of always helping people, or what I deem as helping others. And I've done that my whole entire life. So that's why it wasn't very hard for me to come on a YouTube channel and start talking with people, because I've always been a very extroverted person. I can easily talk to people. Doesn't matter if, like I said, you're a freaking president or a freaking prime minister here in Canada, or, a shit digger. Doesn't matter to me. A decent human's a decent human. Doesn't matter what level you flow at. You're all the same to me. I don't honestly give a crap about your level in society. It means nothing to me. What means a lot to me is who you are as a person. And I love people that have great hearts and want to do things that are unselfish, because they choose to, because it enriches their lives. It is one of the most enriching feelings that people can feel. And I've always personally loved it. It's never been an act. I'm not that person. I'm not here to feed people a line of shit and try to sell it to you. I just try to be real with my thoughts, who I am as a person. And I enjoy the fact of others that people can impact lives and change somebody's life, even if it's just lending an ear to them because they just needed someone to listen to that day. Let me say this. I don't usually ask for people's help. I've never been an asker too much, but I really do sometimes need my own outlet, to talk to someone like when I was talking to you the other day, Callie.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just really nice just to, when you don't really have a lot of people that you just can sit there and talk with someone, and you're like, because I've always been that person that goes, well, I know I don't want to unload my shit on somebody else. I'll deal with that shit myself. But sometimes it really is nice just to have a talk with someone that understands where you're coming from because they have a caring heart back, those bad boys. Okay, come for you. So I just think that as much as I felt like the missing and the murdered, and I didn't really want to be in this whole thing because I find it very draining and tiring and very sad. um, After a while it became very, I looked at the balance, that if I could disassociate myself from the sadness in a sense of it, that the rewarding part was helping other people, or at least bringing awareness to people. And as the channel grows, the more people, you come across their paths, you know um like yourself, like CG's, like Lewis, like in the back. There's Isaiah.
Isaiah Micah Super Chat, $19.99.
Hi, Isaiah.
Beautiful.
There we go. There's a beautiful heart right there. I love Isaiah. I know he usually is in the chats. He's been following me for a long time. But again, you know, uh, just a beautiful heart. So I love that. I can always tell when people are being genuine. And that's why I have no patience for bullshit. Don't come in here. Don't come into the channel. Try to feed me your line. Don't sit there and say that or don't sit there and make a comment where you're being absolutely rude. And I can see right through that crap. And then you say, I wasn't being rude. Bullshit. You can tell a rude comment when it comes across. I just don't have to listen to it because that's an online side of my life versus a real. I put up with a lot of shit in my life, and I certainly don't have to take it from no online people to listen to their bullshit. I will always make this channel about kind, caring people, and the rest of them can buzz off, And if people are kind of nasty but still want to watch, enjoy the channel. But the minute you speak out of turn and talk ignorantly, you'll just get a boot. Simple as that. There's not even a warning. It's just take care, have a good day, bye. Right? Because we're not here to hurt people. I think even in Doug Carter's interview, Callie, he, like when I was listening to him in the one interview, like he said, like this world's out of balance, and it is. There needs to be a lot more kind, caring people in this world, and it's just true. It makes a nicer world. And if people would realize that, instead of attacking creators or attacking people in this world, why don't you just be more useful with your time and realize that loving and caring makes you actually have a more fulfilled heart than walking around your daily life being a miserable, fuck, basically, right? Seriously, it's more fulfilling, it's more rewarding. But people don't understand that if you are kinder, people are kinder to you. If you're going to be a dick, people are going to snap back at you. So if you're going to act like that in your life and be like that, then obviously, then your life must really suck to walk around every day. Because when you're nicer to people and kind and caring and care about other people, again, you walk around and your heart feels full of happiness. That's what I enjoy. That nobody can take away, So, oh, you wanted to hear some BS tonight? No. Yeah. But anyways, so don't you think, Callie? Because I know you.
I mean, you really attract. I have to say, just watching the chat all the time, I feel like this channel is drama free, and I feel like the people that are part of this chat and this community on this channel are all here and somehow getting a need met. And we rarely see people come on here and get rude or, just be blatantly belligerent. It doesn't happen that much. I would have to say if everybody here could actually raise their hand, probably most of the people in here kind of struggle with what you and I talked about the other day. I mean, we've all had great friends in our lives, and some people may jump on the phone, but we all experience something when the, you know what happened a couple years ago, and people want to be able to chat in a nice, safe environment. People have withdrawn from friendships in real life, whether that was because of what happened a couple years ago, or maybe something else. Like in my case, it was something else that made me withdraw. But really, the people in this chat are very loving and accepting of each other. And I feel like if everybody could even like just raise a hand, which I know they can't right now, probably a lot of needs internally are being met just to come here whenever you're live, because you do have that conviction inside of you, whether it's for the case, whether it's for people you're talking with, whether it's for the people in chat. Sunny, you really do need to give yourself that credit of bringing together a lot of people and filling a lot of needs beyond the Delphi case, beyond whatever it is you're talking about. People kind of need that interaction, and this is a safe place to do it. And you've provided that, because you can go to a lot of other chats and not get that. We all have experienced that. They can be very hateful, mean places.
Oh, I was going to say, I think a lot of people, first of all, I don't put up with the bullshit, so I get rid of those people. And that's why it's always on subs only. And the minute that anyone does talk disrespectfully in the chat, they just go. So that's why this chat is really the way it is, honestly, because I don't let just everyone and anyone in here. And I won't be that way. I'm not going to be that type of hypocrite to myself. Those are my own standards and morals of be a decent human. If you can't be a decent human to people, then get the hell out of here, first and foremost. Because like I said, any day I would rather see genuine caring people that have empathy towards other people, and that you're not sitting there just trying to attack them. So by the same token of what you just said, Callie, it's also very fulfilling for me, because I love seeing kind, caring people. It really fills my heart. And I don't need I've never needed a big group of friends ever. I've always been fine with my husband and a couple of friends, right? On the internet, you do develop relationships as well. And I truly always appreciate those, but never backstab me, because the minute you backstab me, you're out of my life for good.
Yeah.
I don't put up with that crap. You want to sit there and backstab me or be two-faced and stuff like that, then get out of my life. Just because it's kind of like I said, just keep it real. That's why I love when like CD talks, and just there's so many people, but I always say CD because CD, he was one of the first ones that I met. And CD is just like, tell it like it is, tell it like it is. And so not everyone is as vocal as some of us, but yet they still have the same caring hearts by the same token. But that's what I like. I just like people just be genuine. Don't be a fake. Don't be a fraud. Just be genuine. It doesn't mean you have to tell everyone your whole entire life, even though pretty much I'll tell you most things about me. I don't really care. I never used to be like that, but I really like the fact that I get emails from people that say that they enjoy or wait for the live to come on because it has helped them in some way. That's powerful. When you don't realize you're helping people that are sitting there in chat right now, and them coming to the live means something to them because they enjoy coming on here, whether it's to see me and Adam, or me, Adam, and when it was Deb, or maybe they want to see Lewis's smiley face, either way. And yeah, but I don't want to take away. Some people are probably going to get, bored from it. But, like I said, even if I'm talking about this right now, if somebody doesn't want to listen to it, great, go watch another channel right now. That's fine. It's perfectly fine, because again, we always try to talk about the case. Then sometimes we get sidetracked, and I'm cool with that because I'm just a YOLO person. I go with the flow of things, and that's how I run. And there's people that try to guide me and tell me how to run this channel, and I just say, shoot, go away, go create your own channel. If you're that dedicated to tell me how to do my my show and what I should be doing, go create your own. Like, spend some time doing that instead of writing out this freaking big book on a message telling me what I should do on the channel. Those are hilarious to me. Well, you need to format your channel could be this much better if this and that. No, the channel will grow with love and care and kindness, and it will grow at its own pace. I don't need to fake titles. I don't need to fake being something I'm not, or same with Adam, right? He can do a YOLO live just like with me and whatever. Just keep it organic, keep it real, and keep it as genuine as you can. That taught me has always been the way, and that's the way it will stay. And if anyone doesn't like it, YouTube has this great platform to create your own channel. Such a great platform. anyway, anyways, enough about that. Welcome back, Lewis.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
and you don't want everything to be the same. If everyone comes in and tells you, oh, you need to do it like this or like that, nobody wants to watch the same thing on every channel.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
watching your channel for a different variety and information and different people's outlooks. They're going to watch a different channel for the way that's structured. And if they want you to change yours to match somebody else's, then just tell them to go watch the other channel.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're here for a reason.
Well, right, and there's such great platforms out there. Like I said, Steve from True Crime Lab, he likes, he just goes from point A to point B, does his hour in a little bit, and does a great format that way. Like I said, that's what makes the world such a diverse place, is that you have the different personalities, and there's some people that like both sides of it. All I'm saying is that at no way point am I sitting here caring. The channel will grow as it grows, because either people want to come in here because they like the fact that we can joke around, have fun, joke around with the chat, whatever, have different people on the lives and still give information and stuff like that. Like I said, just YOLO. I've never been this blood sucking, money hungry person that's, puts money or people beyond anything. I enjoy the fact that YouTube pays for your videos and stuff, but if it wasn't for the people that watch, you wouldn't even get that. But it's so fulfilling. It very is fulfilling to me. Like it's more. I'd rather, like, before this, I was an optician, guys. I've done a lot of things in my life, but I was an optician, and so that's why it's like I see you clearly. But anyways, but this is so much more rewarding than going to sell glasses to somebody. I'd rather any day share somebody's story or helps or enrich somebody's life by saying, hey, you have an old case. Do you want to talk about it still? Do you want to bring some awareness to that? That's way more fulfilling than going to work and going, hey, those glasses look great on you. Not really, but no, I'm very truthful too. That's why people like my honesty. Even at work, it was like, yeah, no, get those off right now. Those do not look good. I literally would say that, like, seriously, get those off. Those money, because we would have like 5,000 pairs, right? But again, they appreciate that. I don't want to feed someone a line of crap and go, oh, those look great on you, when truly they didn't. But I'm not there for the sale of it. It's just, you want my honest opinion? Great. Those look great. Those ones don't. Nope. So it's just, again, about being genuine. People read into that. They can tell. But, the thing about this all is that whether people are money motivated or in it because of their caring reasons, it doesn't really matter. There's room for everyone in this world wide web of different things. Do you know what I mean? There's space for everyone. Do
So
what you
I
want.
think what people don't realize is it shouldn't be a competition between this person and that person. And a lot
No.
of people look at it that way.
Right.
It's an open market. And even if it's a live and it overlaps with another live, that video is there when the live is over. And there's so many people out there that spend their time watching a channel. They'll save that channel, they'll subscribe, and then on their way to work, they'll play it, they'll listen to it. Then on the way home, they'll listen to a different one. It's not a competition.
No.
The larger the community grows, the more sponsors get involved, and the more you've got open videos, open information. Think of it like this: 20 years ago, when you watched TV, they rated channels and everyone fought for time slots and all that.
Yeah. I was like 2 years old.
But now that doesn't happen anymore because there are no time slots.
Mhm.
Everybody can take their phone out or their iPad or their laptop or their tablet and watch anything at any given time anywhere in the world. So there is no competition. It's like going to the library.
I don't like to play dirty pool.
Yeah.
I try to have a respect for the other channels and stuff like that, knowing when they were going to do lives and stuff like that. Like, Steve was on and stuff like that. I made sure that his live was over. before I started, because it was just an unexpected live. But I try to be very respectful of people's time. So you can't always, but yeah, I always try to be very mindful of the groups that we know kind of do lives. And it's not perfect, but you try to be, So I'll always try to definitely always be respectful of, people. Let me put it this way: people that I care about. The channels that I don't care about them because I don't even watch them. But anyways, let's get back on track a little bit here. But there was our love you guys rant. Okay, Sunny, does my peach look big on this live? Well, don't even get me going.
Alexa, we're seeing a different side of you, my dear.
Well, I was gonna say, hold on. I don't have a peach, but you know what I do have? I have an orange.
Aw, that's so cute.
I know. I mean, it doesn't quite look like your peach that looks like a butt, but I do have a peach one, but I'm not going to do it because you already said you're a peach. Anyways, getting back to Delphi stuff. I know it's hard to talk to an orange, and don't you always think of that joke? Aren't you glad I didn't?
Aren't you glad?
Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad I wasn't a banana? No. Okay.
Yeah. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
I know, but maybe if I was an orange or a potato or a banana, maybe I get like more. Maybe that little, I know.
I like it when you're the corn.
You know what? I think Deb liked that one too. A piece of corn. Where's my corn? Do I have my? You don't like the tampon the best?
No, I'm not a good fan of that one.
Yeah. Oh, hold on 1 second. You guys, forever, you guys who hasn't seen this one yet. No, that's not it. Hold on. Is it this one?
I do have a question for you, Lewis, though, when she's ready.
Sure.
I'll never be ready. Do you like it?
Hi, Anna. That's true. Family atmosphere. I agree with you on that one. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Although it looks like you're a furry fry.
No, she's a chicken nugget.
Oh, that's right.
Where's the dipping sauce?
There's something wrong with that French fry. Okay, she's a nugget.
If I was truly a chicken nugget, what sauce would you dip me in?
Sweet and sour.
Honey mustard.
Now, see, that's not the way you do it. You've got to mix two of them together.
Ooh.
First you dip in the sweet and sour, then you dip in the barbecue.
Oh.
I kind of, okay, hold on, let me go back. 1 second.
I thought something was wrong with my glasses. I'm like, maybe I need to clean them. That looks fuzzy to me.
Yeah, right.
Kind of gross. I didn't even think about a nugget.
So what was your question for me?
Well, and you might have touched on this early on, but now that it's been a few days on the PCA, back to Delphi.
Yeah.
And CD, I hope you're still here too, because I know he has thoughts on this. But what do you really think that would be outlined in that? I know it's overall supposed to be what ties him to the murders, but what do you really think would be on there? How much description? Kind of like what we saw in the search warrant for Ron Logan or the other affidavit with Keegan Klein? I mean, what do you think?
It's going to outline what gave them the reason for the search, but if you ask me why I think it was sealed, I've got a whole different idea, and I don't like the direction it went in. I think it had to do with the election, and I think that they were kind of worried about the fact that they were going to mention that they went back, and what was confirmed today that they went and looked at a file from earlier on, and they didn't want the public to have the impression that they missed it, even though that's not the way it works. People just put things in their own perspective, and that could be viewed that way. So hypothetically, that could be a reason why they didn't want it to look bad, and the timing was just not right for it, but they had to act on it.
Okay, so we don't think necessarily that there's people listed in there that haven't been arrested yet. We can kind of squish that one.
I think there's people that haven't been arrested yet or are in the process, but I don't think that's in the probable cause affidavit.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the reason I want to say is this, because everyone keeps saying that there's nothing that they're going to protect, because if there's somebody else that's involved and they know he's arrested and they seal that document, that gives somebody more of a reason to want to disappear. So
Yeah.
you're not protecting that person so that you can get them and your information, because once that arrest went public, anyone else involved knows.
Yeah.
So
They're not.
CD wrote, yeah, everything, who, what, when, where, why, how long, every detail of the murder. It would, all that would be in there.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys
No,
talked.
I don't think that information, the probable cause affidavit for the search warrant, I don't think it's going to list all that. People are always worried about all the facts coming out in there. That's not what's going to be in that document. It's going to give you the direct link as to why they served the search warrant on him and why he was being arrested. It's not going to go into detail unless that detail is completely tied into the reason for the arrest and the search.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we kind of maybe change our expectations that we're going to get a whole lot of information, but the important information that I think a lot of us want and could stop speculation possibly is the fact that it would lay what ties him to those murders.
Correct. And
And
by doing this, they cause more speculation.
Yeah.
That's what's causing the whole thing, that they then had this issue over having to move him and the judge dropping off. They caused that whole problem themselves by keeping everything quiet. And everyone that thinks that the stuff that's sealed is going to actually, disrespect what happened to them, no, it's going to give you the reason why they arrested him. And that information gives so much doubt in people's mind when it's sealed that you're causing people to contact the courts. You're causing people to question it. And that's where all this overload came that they called a bloodlust. It wasn't a bloodlust. It was people that want questions answered.
Now, don't you think that whole bloodlust thing, I mean, come on, though. It's kind of like the Ron Logan search warrant. In order to achieve what you're wanting, you have to embellish somewhat, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think that was kind of a bit embellished in a sense?
No, I don't know, but I don't think so, because this is a different time frame for this case.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think that they're going to do the FBI's fancy wording to get things pushed through.
Well,
this is more of a, we need to protect what we're doing and make sure there's no reason to come back on us.
well,
I think they're being overprotective, and because of the overprotectiveness, they're causing all the issues.
Okay, well, first of all, so CD says to that, Lewis, he says probable cause arrest affidavit will have all of it in it. That's what he thinks, that it will have all of that in there. So you don't think so. He thinks so. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess we'll all see. So he's saying it's going to have the who, what, where, when, and why. I don't know.
You'll have
problem.
Yeah, but it's not going to give you, at least I don't think it's going to give you all of the personal details of what happened. It's going to tell you why they're looking at him, what he was responsible for doing, of course, who he is, we know that, and any tie-in related to as why they went after him. But I really don't think, because I think there's more involved here, I don't think it's going to lay out the exact process of what happened. I don't think we're going to see everything from the end of the bridge till the next day laid out in that document.
No.
I guess the way I always understood it was that they have to put in. I actually always heard that was kind of what CD's saying, the who, what, when, why, and how, but they don't have to disclose all of the information. That's going to go through discovery and would come out at trial, but enough to cause to have probable cause is the way I learned it. But I was curious what you thought about that. And I have to say, we were talking about it earlier, as far as the 22nd, I do think they're going to release it that day as well. I think the media is going to force it. And as much as I know the family doesn't want that right now, I have to agree. I think the media is going to win that fight. They've got a lot of legal teams behind them.
A well-seasoned judge is going to see that there's no reason for that fight, and that's going to happen. I think that the judge that did this, it was more of a, we need to protect the integrity of what's going on, but they went overboard. I think a proper judge that has more experience is going to come out and say we need to protect the trial later on, and not cause any reason for the defense to come up with a reason for either a dismissal or, there's too many problems that can come up by not following the letter of the law, and
Well,
we leave too much open for what's happening to him. I mean, he's got no representation. He's got no attorney. We don't know why he was picked up. There's no explanation for the search, and it's now going on more than just a few days. I mean, the fact, think of it this way. They arrested him. We found out the day that we thought he was arrested originally was the day he went in front of a judge.
Mm-hmm.
There was no case number listed. Think if this was you, not him, not this crime, but let's say for some reason somebody had a reason to arrest you. They came to your house, they knocked on the door, they gave you a piece of paperwork, they searched for hours, they then came back a week later, arrested you, took you away, put you in a cell for 2 days before you even went in front of a judge, and nobody has any idea where you are or why you were picked up. And then you go in front of the judge, you're pled not guilty, and that's probably the judge that did that, not him. And then you get put in a cell, and nobody knows what's going on yet. 3 more days later, it's leaked to the media, so they have to do a press conference. And in that time frame, they've moved you now once. Now you're in a different place. You still don't know where you are. Nobody knows where you are. His wife probably didn't know where he was. And then they move him a third time, and you're being moved in all kinds of protective gear. If that happened to you, and nobody in your family and nobody in the public knew what was going on, you would be disgraced. That would not be something that America should do. And taking the crime out of the situation, look at the person's rights, and that is just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
CD's saying, does Lewis understand the search warrant and the probable cause affidavit are two separate documents?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, right? I mean, it's totally out of my realm. All I was thinking about was the Barry Morphew case where they like sealed his affidavit or whatever. But then doesn't it come, like, if I recall, didn't Barry Morphew's come all redacted with shit? Like a lot of redactions in there.
And that's another thing. They could have, if it was, and that's why I don't think it's people's names. If there were names in there, they would have redacted them and released the document. I don't think it was being held because of people. That I don't think is the reason, because that's not normal in most cases. Could it be in this case? Yeah, they handled it that way, but I really don't think there's names in there because redacting a document is what normally happens.
Okay, so just like debate here. So CD says, look at how detailed Ron Logan's search warrant was. There will be this. They will be the same way. The PC affidavit will have more info on the murders, which Richard Allen's role was in the death of the girls.
Well, we don't know that either. We don't know what part he played in the death of the girls. So whatever he winds up doing is what they're going to have in that document. It's not going to be, we're spilling everything out in this document. They're going to put in what he did, or what they think he did, or what they've got evidence against him for doing. Yeah. They keep skirting around that question when they're questioned over that. And if it was just him, I would think they would say it's just him. I don't think they would keep playing these word games.
That's a good point. I think it's just going to be, I think it is going to be a lot of information. I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like there's somehow that's going to get leaked again. And I hope it doesn't, because of the fact that could be a problem for the trial. Yeah. Much bigger than it was on the other things that were leaked. But I at the very farthest, it will be the 22nd. I don't see personally that it's going to go any further than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the documents are going to be related to his part in the crime. And we don't know what his part in the crime is yet. So speculating on what he did, by not releasing the documents, everyone's guessing as to what he did. Nobody knows what he did. He knows what he did. The police know what he did. The prosecution knows what he did. But we really don't know.
We don't know.
Who just said something? Only the physical evidence would be included, not the motive. Is that right? That makes sense to me, because that would seem like something that would come out in trial. But I don't know much about PCA.
It depends on what the motive was. If the motive is let's say this whole thing comes down to some sort of video evidence, and that was the motive behind it, they're going to outline that in some way in that document, because that's what it's going to boil down to. But they're not going to give a motive if he just tells why he did it. If he did it, that wouldn't be in there. That's discovery later on. That's different.
Now, Lewis, also, I have another question for you. If there's DNA that connects him, like solidly connects him, what are the odds that he's going to confess or not go to a jury trial? To me, if I was like, I would never be in this situation, but if I knew they for sure had DNA evidence that locked me to something like that, there's no way I'm going to a jury. I mean, I guess you could, because you would want that one merciful juror on there.
Yeah.
But do you think he would confess, or, you know, just kind of stop the train if he really believed there was like true DNA locking him, or like he literally had something of the girls at his house?
Depending on his intellectual ability, the smarter he is, or the smarter he thinks he is the less reason for him to actually admit to doing anything.
Mm.
I think he's the type of person that's going to sit through this thing and hope for a mistake, or hope for an error, or who knows, maybe people put stuff together that makes him look guilty. We don't know yet. But I don't think he's the type that would confess. There's too many ways to get out of it by not confessing. If he confesses it, I mean, he can, of course, redact that later, but I can't see somebody getting by this many years just then walking in there. He would have done that already, unless they didn't allow him the first time he went in front of the judge because there was no representation. But I really don't see him admitting to anything. I really don't. Especially after reading that letter asking for, public defender.
Mm-hmm.
That letter did not seem like true begging. That seemed like a scripted letter he put together to present to the court. The way it was written, it was too exact. It was not what somebody that doesn't know what's going on or is scared would write. I did not see anything in that letter that made me think this was a desperate guy.
Okay.
What did you think about that letter, Callie?
Pretty much what Lewis said. He needs representation. I think that he has only till the 17th to get that representation. So, he probably just thought they were, after he realized how expensive it was going to be, that they would automatically assign him a public defender. But somebody informed him that he needs to make that request. He doesn't have access to a computer or the proper forms to submit it like good old Daryl Brooks was doing every day. I say that with a joke, but I think he just realized he had to make the formal request. But I'm surprised he was able to hold a pen if he's under suicide watch. Somebody would literally have to be sitting there with him so that he didn't stab himself in the throat. If they're truly in suicide watch, they cannot have anything.
Yeah.
So that the fact that he had a pen in his hand, which could be a weapon to himself, makes me think that they told him he had to write it and probably gave him, a couple ideas of what to put in there.
And that was written before he went to Michigan City, so. Maybe
he wasn't on suicide watch yet. I don't know.
So we don't know what they were doing with him before they moved him the last time. My thoughts on that thing with the public defender, we don't know his level of intellect. If he really is sharp and methodical, maybe he was waiting for a high-end lawyer to contact him because of the way this case is set up in the public, and he thought that maybe somebody would come and offer to represent him, and the clock was ticking, and it hadn't happened yet. They were going to move him again. They told him, you need to either find somebody or request, and then they made him write the letter.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, because a lot of lawyers would jump on this and do it pro bono.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and I think he was waiting for that, and it never came to fruition. Yeah,
that's just I could see that in Indiana. I mean, I can think of the Parkland shooter trial recently and Daryl Brooks again. I mean, how many people want to be persecuted for trying to help him, even though that's his right. And as a defense attorney, you accept that when you defend people like this. It's still I can see why nobody jumped on that you know. But
And there's so many things in this case that can bring doubt into the equation. I could just see some lawyer wanting to jump into this because he thinks his name will get out there if he's got any chance of getting him off.
yeah,
I literally just felt like a 2-year-old wrote that letter. I didn't read much. I didn't read into it like maybe you're reading into it. I just thought it was basically just a kind of like a bubble-headed, kind of guy going, here's my best English. Let me just write out.
The thing that jumped out at me was like sentence structure. Like he put his wife before him in a sentence. I mean, he had very proper sentence structure, even though the letter looked very sloppy, which is why I think it was more choreographed. I don't think that was a.
Well done. You're going to tell me that my wife's an eyes. No one puts a freaking sentence like that.
Most people would say me and my wife, but that's not proper sentence structure.
My wife
and
I
is proper, not me and my wife.
He said my wife and eyes.
Yeah. I know eyes, but putting my wife in front of I, that jumped off the page at me because that's not an accent or mistake that you make. That's not what people normally do. That's proper structure as opposed to improper, which most people use improper.
Me, I just read it and I was like, yeah, that's a very basic thing. It just reminded me of somebody that doesn't know shit about the law. That's going, okay, well, I guess I got to do up a letter to get an attorney.
But he covered it. He covered why he didn't have the money. You know what shocked me the most about the letter, honestly, is that he did not put in there, my wife left me. I am by myself.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, we know she can't testify against him because they're married. But the first friggin' thing I and probably every woman in this chat would have done is got a divorce. Because who wants to be associated with this? I mean, honestly, they have to know there's proof here at this point for him being charged. I don't know if I'd give somebody the benefit of the doubt of waiting a few weeks to see what the evidence is. Probably I'd be like gonzo.
I'm going to disagree with that, actually, because
really, see, that's how I would do it.
Like, well, it might be how we would do it, but but let me put it this way. Yeah, like it's one of those things. If someone told you that your son or my son did all this, you're not going to just abandon ship. It's, you're going to want to see the proof and everything else. You're not just going to go, sorry, son, get out of my life.
I would never do that with my son, but I would do that with a man who.
Yeah, but that's not.
Sorry, that's just me though.
I get it. Like if I knew for sure 100% that someone blurry again. Darn it. I don't know why. I'm blurry. Anyways, you discuss that and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you look at that, people are missing. They were together before they graduated high school and they got married at 19. That is a lot of years to be in a relationship with somebody to just write them off because of something like this, that when he was originally questioned, he's probably built up a whole thing with her as to why. And then he's like, see, I told you they were going to try to get me for this. They let me go before and they didn't think about me. They're running out of time. Now they got to blame somebody.
Yeah.
I admitted that I was there, and what if that's right? What if they don't have a real strong case and he isn't connected like people think it is? He's not at a trial yet. So I don't understand a relationship that long with her just walking away. But the fact that he put in the letter the way he did, that says a lot. That letter was very telling to me. I didn't want to break it down because I know Alexa's going to come over and go over the handwriting. But looking at that letter, I started looking at it. And I'm like, this is a choreographed letter. He planned this out before it came out. And then I started thinking, nobody offered to take the case in advance. He knew what he had to do. They're getting ready to send him to a prison from a jail. He's like, this is my last chance. I've got to send a letter in, so I've got some representation.
Yeah, Alexa brought up a good point. If I don't know where it is in the chat, I saw it that she said he will confess, but it will take a while and a lot of pressure. Because I don't think anybody has really called him narcissistic. I don't feel like I'm seeing narcissistic with him. Somebody that's narcissistic would never confess, but they'd probably not be on suicide watch because I don't know a lot of people that are narcissistic that would actually hurt themselves. but I am not a psychologist here. I will just say that, like, if he finds out down the road that they truly do have DNA, they have this lockdown, I can't imagine this guy, as close and as great of parents as it sounds like he has, that he would want them to, like, if he truly is backed in a corner, that he would want them to hear all of the details.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think you're right. He's not. I don't see him confessing. I don't see him admitting to anything, because there's nothing that's going to be worse time-wise, whether he confesses it or not. He's got a better chance of not confessing and going in front of a court.
I see him. I see him plea bargaining it out if there's other people involved that he can get
Possibly.
lighter sentence.
That's a really good point.
That's what I see. That's, you know, if not, I actually don't see him. So let's just say it's just him solo. I don't see him taking. I see him denying myself. But if there's somebody else involved, I can see easily that he would be like, well, you know, if they say, well, you give us this and we'll do this, you know, probably what they're doing with Kagan Klein right now. Same idea, you know.
Well, yeah, it makes me go back to the fact that they dug things up in the yard that were outside, and the other stuff was supposedly in a shed. You know, they dug up things in the yard that were outside, and supposedly the things that they found were in a shed. I could see him saying, I could see him saying, you know what, I'm being set up. I didn't put that stuff there. I don't know what you're talking about. Not me. You know, I'll sit here until you prove I did something, and then, you know, when you can't prove it, I'm going home.
So do you guys believe
the attitude I get from him, from that letter and watching him in the videos and stuff on his the demeanor I get from him is going to be like, I don't have a care in the world. I'm in a prison right now in a glass cell, and I'm sleeping all day. He's not worried. He's not pacing. He's not doing it. If the rumors are true, this guy could care less. He's taking a nap all day because when they're ready to bring me to court, they'll bring me to court.
Is he even allowed to talk to family in this kind of a situation? Or have any phone
It's such an odd situation. I don't know.
Let me put it this way. A friend, like I said, showed me today that so we call her Wilter, which is short for wife Lilith. So she put out a video showing how you can send money to Richard. I guess because I didn't watch it myself, but you can go watch it yourself, I guess, if you want to. So showing whatever, but then this other person still showed me that, you know, that there's already this a person on there that already has 3 visitations set up with him, and I'm not going to say that that's his wife. I'm going to say that that's a YouTuber, because you can request.
Greeno.
You know, because you pardon.
Greeno. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
But
you know, I thought they weren't allowed to have the chirper or a commissary until after he gets a lawyer. Is that true? I was thinking somebody said he couldn't have commissary or the chatter or phone calls until he has an attorney and you know, his housing is more established, but I don't know for sure. Oh, see, who just said yes, he is allowed visitation and calls. He is not in solitude. He's not.
No,
but it takes him.
He's in the observatory room. Remember?
Right. Okay. But he's still solitary, though. Like, he's not allowed to be in the.
You're right. Well, I think because solitary would mean like there was small little dicky rooms. This is probably that suicide watch room, like they said, observatory room. So probably different classification versus what is deemed as solitary, I would think. Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, like in all fairness, though, if I'm in jail, Lewis, I'd probably be watching my life flash in front of me right now, regardless if he's guilty or say innocent. But
no kidding.
I'd probably be sleeping a hell of a lot too, because I'd be so screwed up. You know what I mean? When you're depressed,
especially if they're screaming at him all day, like the phone call said.
Well, you got to figure he's in a different facility than he normally would be in. He's in a prison. That's a little bit different than the jail where you normally go before you go in front. It's a whole different situation, and they have to keep him on watch because, of course, they have to worry about suicide. I don't think this guy has any inkling of committing suicide. He like they said earlier on. You want to know what we know? He does. He wants to know exactly what they know, and he's going to stay tight-lipped until he finds out what's going on.
Do you why is it saying just murder? Why isn't it saying first degree murder?
They don't do that in Indiana.
Oh, they don't?
No. There's murder, there's voluntary manslaughter. Those are the way they rate them. And the level of murder he's being charged with is the level where it was committed while committing a different type of a crime. So
see, wouldn't that be kidnapping though? Isn't that listed in there? Because he did move them.
It could be that. It could be some sort of assault. There has to be a underlying charge with it. It's not just straight up murder. To be at the number that they've got next to it, they're charging him with murder, but it was in the process of committing another crime. So it's going to be interesting because that'll be in documents. We'll see that.
Well, I mean, we're 12 days away from the date of the 22nd. Chances are it's looking pretty likely that, it will be unsealed at that point. At least, that's what Carter is saying in a couple of weeks. That would put that right in the timeline. We've also heard that behind the scenes as well, that, that it's going to be unsealed that day, possibly as well. So it won't shock me if it is unsealed, because kind of like what you've heard, same with you, Lewis, and stuff like that, sounds reasonable pretty much, to be honest with you. And I just think that, like I said, for me personally, I'm just waiting for it to come out and seeing all what's in it. Well, do you think that there will be some redactions in it or no?
It's possible. I mean, the judge is going to review it and make a determination as to what should and shouldn't be visible in the document, and they can make redactions on there. But like I said, I don't think there's going to be any names in there. I don't think that's going to be what's released.
Correct.
I'd like to see it all released, but it's possible they're going to redact some things.
Yeah. I just think of the ones that I've seen myself, and I'm not no freaking lawyer or anything like that, but it's like all these black marks running through it, kind of like Ron Logan's affidavit, and then somebody has the good version that that doesn't have the redactions, and then you're like, sweet, instead of sitting there trying to, how many letters are you? Remember with the like sharp bladed and whatever knife, or it was kind of like, okay, edged weapon, sharp weapon, and then it ended up just being the basic word sharp. But yeah, I mean, Ron Logan's affidavit, his was quite telling.
Yeah.
His was quite telling. I'm expecting to kind of see like, I'm just kind of expecting to see like a basic scenario, bloody crime scene, this, that, a few things. There's a few things that I would really like to know that as they come along. One is the coroner's report.
Yeah.
About when the girls actually died. The correct timeline, things that have bugged us over time. What is the true timeline? Did they cross that river? Or was it just something that we've just believed the whole time? Because there's a lot of things to lead that they didn't as well. But I'm just looking forward to learning some truth instead of all these questions, hearing some more of what actually happened. And, I mean, again, I look to the crime scene myself, and I just go by my pictures, okay, of the helicopter footage. These aren't physical pictures given to me by Ellie, and they said, Sonny, here you go to town. These were just...
They should have done that.
Honestly, there's a huge part of me that thinks, like, do I think that they knew this whole time about freaking Richard Allen? Absolutely not. They'd be blowing shit up our ass right now if they actually, if that was to be true. Bullshit. Yeah. Okay, but as for the crime scene, like I think made a comment that that it was misleading. Well, was it misleading?
Yeah.
Or was it that you didn't know how to decipher it and you thought it was misleading?
Right.
Because what I see, and it could be, but what I see there is a cat for catfishing, perhaps. I'm seeing a pig, right? I'm seeing what looks like to be a hamster or a rat. Um, I'm seeing cameras. I'm seeing jaded bladed knives. We're seeing the knife that's in the victim's supposed in the throat area. Okay. And so it's one of those things. Okay. So why would you, let me put it this way. What, like we had this conversation the other day, Kelly. Why would anyone make it sexually motivated scene and lead themselves back to for the Ellie to look along the lines of rape, CSAM, whatever, all this different stuff? Like why, like why would you want to connect that to, say, the Kagan Klein ring or whatever? Why would anyone do that? Why would you put a parallel type of thing in line with each other? You would want to go the opposite way of, if you're gonna pose or with straight stage, what's the word again? Whatever.
I get them confused, but I think Alexis said that if they are staging, it's the MO. If they're posing, that one of them's to throw police off.
I think the posing is. And so why would you want to lead yourself in a direction that would lead you to look that way? You would want it to go a whole different direction. So I don't really know if they thought that it was misleading, or they just misinterpreted it, the crime scene, because they didn't have the knowledge back then. But that will come out in the wash, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Again, more questions hopefully answered at some point. Because I find it very interesting that you got a cat, you got a pig, you got all this stuff going on, all this like little freaking playland over there. That's what it feels like, a freaking circus. How many people in chat think that there's a murder tape out there, regardless if it's on the deep dark web or not? How many people think that this was on video?
100% I do. I always have. I'm sad to say that. I don't know that, like you said, I doubt it's on the dark web, but I think so.
One if you do, just, you can say photograph, you can put photograph. Well, photographs are kind of a gimme probably, but how many do you think that there's actual video out there? Regardless if one person has it or 100 people have it. Probably not 100, obviously, but who knows? One if yes, and two if no. Just there's 300 people almost in here, at least photos minimum.
Yeah, because he could have developed them right there at CVS, although I don't know what the memory cards are like in that situation.
I mean,
but I always thought they got a video, and that's what Keegan and Tony took to Vegas to sell. But I don't know about that now.
Call me crazy, but the guy has a freaking GoPro camera thing up there.
Yeah.
Like I can see the freaking square of it, but it has to be shown in a color that people have to understand. Right? Because when you're dealing with these images, you can't just go, oh, people just don't literally understand the photography or the work that goes behind trying to make something happen. Like when you, I have a picture the other day. Okay. Yeah. And I'm just going to show it again because, if I share this, hold on a second. Hide. Okay. So, we'll just take this down for a sec. Whoops. Crime scene. Okay. Crime scene's right in front of you. But do you guys see a crime scene happening there? If you were just to look at it. So if I was to show you that, do you think that there's a crime scene that happened there?
I'm like the Charlie Brown character. I don't see this stuff. But when you take and zoom in and you show me, I can see things. And I trust your work for sure. Well, but I'm really bad at this part of it. Really
even bad. If I zoomed in, right? Looks like nothing to you guys. Absolutely looks like nothing.
I see the pancake man now all the time.
Pancake man's right here. I'm not even going to use the knife. I'm going to use the pancake man. Okay. That's your crime scene right there from helicopter footage. So now you take that, and then I'll come up with, right? And same with Devil's Hopyard, who took his footage of the crime scene. So I went back, used footage, did it myself, because thinking that I could get some possibly different pictures of it. Okay. So now, okay, warning, trigger warning, people. Okay. Knife in victim. Okay. So do you ever imagine that I could possibly get that out of that? Is it possible? Absolutely. Pancake Man. Where's Pancake Man? Well, there's the guy sitting beside Pancake Man. That's the guy that's taking the pictures right there of the crime scene. That's one of them. See the guy with the hat? Here, if I show it in this light, is it better? Hold on. No, I got this one in this color. Right here. Okay. This is the dude. You can see the little bald cap. You can actually see the little round ball on the top of his hat if you truly wanted to look at it. Okay. But this guy right here, he's part of the crime scene. He's taking pictures. There's Pancake Man, dude, right here. The one that I call Pancake Man. Okay. Bunny Rabbit. All that stuff. And that's all from this. But people don't understand the work that truly goes in and how long it can take me to even get an image, off of this stuff. And it's kind of like people go, oh, well, you can't see moles or you can't see this on a bridge, guy, and stuff. Really? Well, where's I didn't upload my cigarette butt one, but why can't you? Like, why can't you? You can't, it's different. It's a video. Even though these are pictures, these ones are pictures, but it takes a lot of work. Now, this one, you're not understanding it, but that's what I'm saying. You don't, in order to understand it, you have to actually pay attention and listen to the process. And if you don't understand the process, that's where all the backlash comes from, because people don't understand the process of what you even need to get to do. That's the BG's footwear right there. That would be his left shoe, real life, right shoe on the video, right? Somebody else tell me that they got an image like that of the BG shoe. I haven't seen one. And if you do, then congratulations, because it's a lot of work. I will be doing another show on this work coming up. But people don't understand that you're literally taking that, picture. There's the mask, there's the mask at the crime scene. I got it in a better light. Oh, here we go. Remember this one I put up the other day? Little mousy, there's a piggy underneath this mousy, the piggy mask that I speak of. But I'm just saying, imagine being able to get those images. Do you think that this right here, like the knife, you think that just somehow landed up in the frickin' woods on Ron Logan's land out of nowhere? Yet it's from that photo on there. So when people say you can't do this, or you can't see moles, or you can't see markings, or you can't do that, really? That's what I say. Well, do it yourself. But if you don't understand it, then ignorance is bliss. Because those pictures, the ones from the crime scene, come out of that picture right there. And Pancake Man is, like I said, right here. This is Pancake Man. I call him Pancake Man because it freaking looks like a freaking Pancake Man. Victim, one of the victims there. And again, but you just keep playing with it. You have to bring it in different colors so that you can see what's being shown. Mr. Bunny Rabbit or Mr. Cat or the little cat, So anyways, that's a different show, but that's right there is what I start with, is that right there. And that's to do my own work because, anyway, back. Because the Devil's Hopyard, who originally took the, let me put it this way. If anyone remembers back then, there was a helicopter. The helicopter was flying over, and nobody understood at the time that they were looking for dead girls. So the helicopters are just flying over. Well, you guys know as well as I do. As soon as something's done on the internet, there's somebody there capturing that footage because they realize that they're searching for girls. So they got their camera footage going. And then that night, the WRTV or whatever takes out that footage. And all you'll see now is just black. For a few seconds, you'll just see black. So That's the crime scene right there where the pancake dude is. Like I said, I could not get those images. I didn't pull them out of my ass. I didn't make believe them. Those are the images from that picture there. And the reason why I know that is because I have the other images where you have the guys in the water and you still have that crime scene that you can see in the same picture. So if someone wants to tell me that those people in the water were made up as well to go with that picture, so you can see. But again, you'd have to actually do the work to understand. And that's what I'm saying. So when people want to judge me so badly on, well, she just makes up all these weird pictures and did it, no. What I've been trying to do is just understand the crime scene so I can understand the involvement and what happened to the girls that day. I only showed you guys just to give you guys some maybe knowledge of maybe other people out there would have different thoughts or ideas of why perhaps these girls were murdered, because why would stuffed animals be there? Why is it set up? Why is there masks? Why does the BG have a camera and a mask under his chin? Why does the BG have metal fixtures behind his back? These are things that we'll come to know eventually. And so so while we've been waiting 5.5 years for answers, because we didn't know when answers were going to come, it was just a matter of, hey, what does this crime scene hold? What is it that they put there? And it's like some weird ass freaking video, cameras, stuffed animals, freaking knives, blades, shit all over the ground, to whatever. Like, who thinks to do that crap? I'll tell you who thinks you should do that crap. I don't really see it as a 45-year-old guy thinking, I'm just gonna go, here, let me just go to the cemetery, grab a couple of those, let me grab a couple of these. But the guy, the freaking BG, has a shitload on that guy.
Yeah.
That guy has a shitload that you guys don't even see. It's ridiculous what that guy has on him. It is crazy what that picture shows and what he truly has on him, But I'm not going to show those pictures yet. I'll show you guys on a different live. And you guys can just, like I said, whatever. And then at some point, hopefully, that these pictures will come to fruition. I mean, meaning that the answers for how the crime scene was, in a sense, that we'll get to hear about it. That we'll actually get to hear what was left at the crime scene or all these different details. At the end of the day, it was just trying to work your ass off to bring justice to the girls. So I don't apologize for working my ass off to try to bring justice for the girls.
Yeah, you shouldn't. And you shouldn't apologize because, again, all that stuff's going to come out in court. Do you ever see a wooden cross when you're looking at where the knife? I swear that is one thing I do see, and I wonder about the secular comment, but I don't know if that was just coincidental that the brand had that, but it looks like a wooden cross.
I mean, it said that it said that there was a cross there, and what I thought was a cross eventually never looked like a cross. It looked like a cross if you were just looking at it, but once you kind of went into the picture more so and more so, it started looking like more of an arc than what it kind of looked like at first. So no, I cannot say that I have physically or visually seen an actual cross. What I thought was a cross was not a cross to what I personally see. Not to say that one isn't there, because we've heard, I mean, you even heard Jennifer Coffindaffer talk about the cleaning product that was there. Like she said, we know that there was a cleaning product there. Have we ever been told that there was we've heard it, but have we ever factually ever known? Because she said it factually when she was talking. And I'm like, okay, so do you have some information the rest of us don't? Because has anyone ever heard of it factually being said besides that we've heard it being said? So
how did you get that in there? That's heavy.
What she said doesn't make sense to me, but I think she's a detriment. That he had bottles of this on his front porch out in the winter freezing. Just the information she was giving was, if it's correct, it's too detailed for somebody that used to be in the FBI to be releasing that to the public. They should know better. If it's just her thoughts on this, then it's not correct because it's going to cause more confrontation between people that believe her or don't believe her. So I think she's just causing a big mess for the entire case.
Um,
I agree right now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna say this wrong, but I just think that I'm a YouTuber. I don't hold no degrees in being an FBI agent or stuff like that. Although some people might think I act like one. I don't know. um, there's a difference. She's an FBI agent.
Yeah.
Her opinion, just like CD's opinion and Steve's opinion, they hold more weight towards people. They just simply do because it's their field.
Yeah.
So that's why they usually don't talk about who their POI is, or, they might talk about certain things because, mostly they realize that for a fact, Duty Ron was in Steve from True Crime Web's live today, right? Because you got Men in Blue, right? People love the Men in Blue. They just do. Just like they like listening to Scott Reish, who's a lawyer, right? Or just like people are coming onto the live to listen to Alexa for her handwriting expertise. Their weight is going to hold more so than just your regular YouTuber. So it's kind of like for me with Jennifer Coffindaffer being in a position and she's on freaking all over those TV shows, like Yesterday's Underwear. She's like all over those TV shows. Everywhere she can find a spot or she gets asked to go, she's on one of those. So if she walks around, keep preaching about Ron Logan, I hope the day comes that she feels so embarrassed that for all the time, because she is a public figure to people. I'm just a freaking small YouTube channel. I'm not sitting here on Inside Edition, on freaking all these channels, and then touting that Ron Logan is the BG. Hell, I'd be embarrassed if that was the case.
And she's doubling down on it, since this man has been arrested. She is doubling down on her opinion about Ron Logan, and even on what was it, News Nation, one of the TV shows the other day. I think maybe Law and Crime. She even said, and the person that is involved in the killing is 6 feet under. She's still doubling down on this stuff. And I feel like I have her on Twitter. I get all of her updates. A lot of things I agree with her, but the Ron Logan thing, I can't buy into that.
What's the thing about that, Ron Logan? Honestly, that was the day I lost respect.
Yeah.
Was that day that I saw that tweet. She ended up taking it down, but that was the day I lost respect. Was when she was basically saying that the person that she believed is responsible is 6 feet under or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just totally lost respect. I'm like, honestly, lady, give me your badge. You do not deserve this if that's what you feel. Considering, meaning, it just seems so, even, like I said, I can compare a rock to the BG and get better results.
What I thought was the most disrespectful thing was going on the news that Monday before the press conference and doing an interview once again, blaming Ron Logan as they're doing a conference about arresting Richard.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought that was the worst thing you could possibly do. Get out in front of the limelight on a news station and throw somebody else out there that's dead, that was never. I mean, all she's doing is saying the FBI was not able to convict him and they didn't do their job well. I mean, she's bad-mouthing the FBI by going out there and saying that they've got all this proof and they couldn't convict him. 5.5 years they let him walk around and locked him up for 2 years. They couldn't break the guy because he was, unbreakable. I really doubt any of that should even be out there with her. And it's going to cause an issue in this case, I think.
I guess we'll just wait and see, everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all one for saying what you want. But I just think that, let me put it this way. I don't know that I'd be saying that much if I was an authority figure myself. Just because I know that the weight of, the expertise that a police officer or a lawyer and stuff can give, an expert can give, is amazing knowledge for the people that aren't in those fields. But I don't know that I'd go much further than that myself, honestly, if I was a public figure to people and I knew that people You've never heard Steve from True Crime Web ever say a POI out loud or whatever either, because the weight of it, like I said, they talk about facts, like, because they are talking about the system, what they know, what is probable, what could happen, things like that, because that is their forte to talk about and stuff like that. I just think that Jennifer Coffindaffer, when I just seen her put out that tweet saying that she believed that I think I was just offended. Like, I don't really know. I was just pissed because I'm like, if anyone thinks that Ron Logan is a BG, go bounce your head off a rock, off a wall, off the cement. Do something to yourself. Seriously. That's how I feel. That's how I felt. And I'm like, so you literally have an FBI agent saying this? Like, no one could be that clueless. No one. But there are. But it's just that there's no, okay, even just taking the worst picture of the freaking BG, you could never come up with Ron Logan. Is how you just couldn't.
There's no way he wouldn't have had a drop of something on him that led back to his house. That alone, like, okay, so yeah, let's just say maybe it was who just has walked the hill with them. I'm thinking that's right. Like, okay, so he's strong. He can get up those hills and up that terrain. You gonna tell me he carted down heavy bottles of bleach if that's what happened, and he never dropped a single piece of DNA or blood or anything going back home?
Plus,
I just don't buy that.
Kill on his own land. You'd have to be a freaking ass moron to kill on your own ass land. And then, do you know what I mean? Like, seriously, that just, like, you'd have to be a nut job to literally go, here, let me go kill some girls on my own land. I'm not going to be looked at, of course. It was like, this just doesn't make any sense. There's no 78-year-old cartwheeling down the freaking bridge. Let alone, you know what I mean? Hands in the pockets, smoke in the mouth, and sitting there taking on these two young girls. All they had to do was probably trip him with their foot, and like, honestly, it just isn't. Like I said, I'd rather believe like a French fry or something was the BG than sit there and say Ron Logan, like, because that's why it was so absurd to me when I saw that post. But she has the right to her opinion, and she has the right to do whatever the heck she wants. I just myself lost respect when I saw that post. And so, yeah, I was trying to watch her today on another channel. I just couldn't do it. I literally just couldn't do it. Sorry, Jennifer, if you ever see this, but couldn't do it. And it's just my feelings. If you guys love her, go right ahead and love her to death.
Well, I wasn't saying that. I hope you know that. I did, I found out about her through the Gabby Petito case. I didn't have any issue with her. It was only when the Ron Logan stuff came out. And then that was way before, it was after the search warrant was released, but before this man was arrested. And since he's been arrested, she is doubling down hard. And I lose, like you said, I lost all respect.
The thing is that I'm still not against. I have never been able to rule Ron Logan in or out. I'm not against the fact that he might have had knowledge. There's something that's always bugged me. I'm not willing to rule that part out. But for being the BG, the actual person on the bridge that day, that's what she has said.
Yeah, and it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 6'7" or 6'8" or something crazy too. There's like no way.
To me, that's like putting your freaking quarter in one of those wind up toy things and going, here's your badge. That's how I feel. That's how strongly I feel about how someone from the FBI would legitly put that out there to say Ron Logan, like, meaning that seems the most absurd thing to me ever, considering if anyone even looks at the picture of the BG, not a hope in hell, people, not a hope in hell. So thank you, subscriber, by the way, 504 Chino. Just quickly,
her credentials give her clout, and all that's going to do is cause reasonable doubt if he's not mentioned in these documents that were used to arrest Richard.
That's a good point.
I have a question, because I mean, it goes back to what you guys said earlier when you asked me questions about it. Do we know if they issued an arrest warrant, or did they use the probable cause affidavit to take him into custody, and then did they issue a charge document? Do we know the order and what was and wasn't produced?
Well, I just remember Carter saying, like, the judge signed the affidavit, and if that's what you mean. And then, we went and arrested him.
CD, that's a CD question. I think he's still here. Let's do
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. CD.
Because, I mean, I don't know. Earlier they asked if I knew the difference. I do know the difference, but the way they did this could have been done multiple ways. I mean, they did the search. They had a search warrant. Did they find something where a detective or a police officer felt this was enough to arrest him? They went in, and they don't need an arrest warrant if he's going to write up a probable cause affidavit, which would actually not be very detailed. And they would pick him up, and then they would do a charge document once he was picked up. Or it would have been done differently, where they actually wrote out a full detailed probable cause affidavit, then issued a search warrant, and then went and picked him up. I'm just curious if anyone knows if there was an actual warrant presented first, or if they actually used a document for the arrest.
If you can just restate the question, please, because CD is here now, and he does use work, baby. That's awesome.
Did he hear or no?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, he did. He was just putting his hand up to say that he's still here.
Yeah.
Okay, CD, what's the verdict on that?
Yeah, what's the verdict, CD? And as we're waiting for CD, maybe possibly to be typing here.
I've always wondered if they found something in that search and they got the results back, and it was like, we need to pick him up right now. And if it was actually a detective or an officer that wrote up the probable cause, made the arrest, and then did a charge document, or do we know that they did an actual full probable cause and then issued a warrant for him?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right. Well, it would be a big difference as to what's going to be in that probable cause affidavit.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, are they going to release a search warrant too? That would be awesome.
The time frame went from the 13th, correct, to the 27th. To me, the way it sounds was something was found on the 13th. Right. That's what I was listening to today. 13th might have went to the lab. I felt it wasn't his DNA, but the girl's DNA came back. That's my opinion. Okay. I mean, in the interview I was watching today, right, on the 13th, they had, written up their...
I have my suspicions on what they found. I don't know if anyone knows what was found in the dirt outside, but...
You're talking about the shoebox?
No, my only concern is what they dug out of that small hole.
You're talking about, was it a cat, or what are you talking about? Just say.
No. My thought is, and this goes back to when you listen to the video, and people have said that it was stated by people that heard the recording that between guys and down the hill, he cocks a gun. And my thought is, if that weapon had one in the chamber, when he cocked it, it would have ejected a round, not fired, and it would have fallen there by the edge of the bridge, and then they went down, the scuffle, whatever happened.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And were they able to match up a round that was found there with a serial number to a round that was found buried by the building next to his shed?
That's right. You were talking about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. That was my first thought. My first thought in the very beginning, when they described how small that hole was, I always thought that maybe there was a round there, and they were able to link the round to the ammo found if there was an ejected round at the crime scene.
Right.
Not a fired round, but one that ejected when they cocked the gun. If there was one in the chamber already, it would have ejected. And at the end of that bridge, if a round shot out, I don't think you'd have any chance of finding it, especially with what happened later.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I wasn't listening to you the first. Like, I was listening to you the first time. I remember you talking about it, but I wasn't like intently listening. But
because I remember my thought with that is, and this is why I bring that up, is because if that's what they found and it went and they actually matched it up and they didn't have time to do a full arrest warrant, a detective or an officer would have a right to actually write up a probable cause affidavit to just go pick him up. And they could have done that, and then they would have had to write a charge document when he was brought in. And once they've got that put together, it would be handled differently. And if that was the case, they might want to keep that closed also. But I'm just curious if anyone knew if they actually did an arrest warrant or not, or if
Well,
it was done with a charge doc. You know, I'm
yeah,
curious.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think in that interview with Doug Carter, the one where he's sitting down with the guy, remember the guy that he kind of gets mad at for a minute and says, "Look, I'm here for this,
Yeah,
not that."
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was kind of talking about that stuff, or no, or was it the one after? No. It had to be the one after, because that was one earlier. It was the
You mean
one.
the one where he asked, "Is it something that you want me to see?"
Um,
That question.
it was the one that I just played the 10 minutes of the other day in the
Okay,
live.
that's
Um,
the other one then.
it's one where he's sitting down with somebody.
Yeah.
I've looked at so many, so forgive me. CD says, I feel a probable cause affidavit drawn up because of what they found to make an arrest. Yeah, probable cause. Right. Because on the 13th, it was, hold on, 13th. God, I watched so many today. I'm so sorry. I watched about like freaking 10 Doug Carter interviews today. So now I'm kind of lost because I know I heard him talking about it on the 13th.
Because everyone's under the impression that this document has to be extremely detailed, and it does not. So the people that think that I was misunderstanding the difference between the two, I'm not. I just understand that you don't have to have as detailed of a probable cause affidavit to actually arrest somebody if the statements are coming from law enforcement.
Now, just again, Lewis, I remember what we were talking about the other night. So just tell everybody again a little bit of your experience, even though I know it's a different state. So everything
Oh,
could be a bit different.
that was a long time ago, but I've got 4 years in law school and a few years in the DA's office, so it's not. It is what it is. But
No, but just so people understand that,
Your background, yeah, it's very
yeah,
important.
yeah,
well, yeah, regardless. I mean, even if it was a while back and stuff like that, right? It's still, you know what I mean? Like there's more knowledge than most of us have out there. And even,
yeah, no, but most things change. So things that I would have written up in briefs and stuff back then would be different than what you would be doing here. And then you've got different laws between the states and all that. So that's why I don't like to put any credibility behind where I'm coming from. But I understand the process, and I understand that there's different ways to handle it. And what everybody thinks is a Johnny Cochran court put together probable cause affidavit might not be what was used here. Do we hope that's what happened? Yeah, but I mean, if you want to pick somebody up because you immediately find out that there's some connection here and we now have proof and you want to go grab that person immediately, all you need is some evidence that the officer can write up in the probable cause to go pick them up. So that, and I said, then you would have traces of a charge document after that. So there's different processes that can happen. And I just wonder which one happened here, if anyone knew.
Yeah, $20 million makes me think, like Alexis just said, and I've been saying to Sunny too, $20 million makes me think that he has something of the girls that was found at his house, and probably his fingerprints are on them, because we can say, yeah, maybe somebody framed him, maybe somebody put him there. It's true, that could have happened. But I'm thinking like maybe he took hair or whatever else. Any clothing, I don't know. He might have kept that. He might have burned it. But something like hair, like if you take somebody's hair.
I agree 100% with you. There's got to be something that connected stronger, or they had enough charging evidence to where they made it that high just to make sure that there are no issues and he didn't get out.
Can they do that though? Or is that based on the amount of evidentiary value? I don't know how that works. Because I mean, normal people like that kill people, not normal. That's not.
Yeah,
that's a bad way. I just put that. Don't get $20 million.
Yeah, it just seemed like I think it was more because of how high profile the case is, and this has been going on for so many years, and so many people want this solved, and I that's why I keep thinking that there's got to be somebody else involved, and they needed him to stay in.
There's more than him involved.
I think that this guy could be considered an extreme flight risk, and that's another reason I don't think he'll admit to guilt, because I think he's going to look for every nook and cranny that he can use to get out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I will be extremely shocked if he admits to anything.
Well, you know what? Uh, Between CD and Lewis here, soon enough, we will see what truly comes out. I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Hope like soon enough. Seriously,
I'm
and
just
then
hoping we're not disappointed and this just winds up being a quick document to take them into custody, and then the charge document is the one that we want to see, but we won't. Because the only document that really becomes public after the arrest, which hasn't happened here,
yeah.
is the probable cause affidavit. Everything else they can keep sealed. I mean, they don't have to disclose that. But this
So
hearing is going to be over the probable cause, and they could have crafted this way just so that nothing else really does get. I mean, I could think of it depends on how smart the prosecution was at the time of this coming together and making the arrest, or if this was a rushed, hurried. Oh wow, we've got the smoking gun here. Let's grab him.
So let me ask you, why at the conference did they say that there was no bond, but we know there was a $20 million bond? And then when he was in White County, it was said no bond again. Where did this 20, like we know where the 20 million came from because it was in our live, the lady uh, who had checked. Um, and so we know that that's true because it actually, came out.
Yeah.
So how come at the press conference they said that he was under no bond, then $20 million bond, and then back? So then when Kelly had contacted White County, they said that there's no bond. So is it like where did that 20 million come from? They obviously put a bond on him because it ended up being true,
Yeah.
So she was correct. Um, but what like so what? Why would they say no bond, $20 million bond, then no bond? What
I
was
can,
the point?
I can tell you that just recently, I was joking about Daryl Brooks earlier about watching his pre-trial, and this is Wisconsin, so it's not Indiana, but they had to set a dollar amount, and that was based on him and all of his like charges over the past 20 years. And at the end of the day, they present it to the judge. The judge accepts that number. Then the judge speaks and says, okay, based on your flight risk and you're not learning from this, you're not learning from that, you continue to make the same mistakes, no bond. So it had to be presented in that case to the judge with a number, a dollar number, a value, and then everything's presented and the judge comes back and makes a ruling. And in that case, it was no bond. And that could be what happened here. So they
Yeah.
have to establish a number, establish why they're asking for that number,
Yeah.
which is what's in the PCA. And then the judge would come back and say, okay, they're asking for this, but I choose to, go with no bond. And I just want to say too, real quick, Sandra was asking about if we figured out if they were not tipped in, if RA was not tipped in. We're talking tonight earlier about the murder sheet put out an episode today where they feel they have confirmed several sources that his arrest was not related to a tip that was called in. Now, it may have been something that was on the books from years ago. They, for some reason, got led to him, and then they revisited prior tips or his coming to them and saying, hey, I was on the bridge that day. I just want you to know, but I didn't see or hear anything. But as a result of like his wife, his mother, his father, his sister calling him in and saying, hey, you need to check this guy out, they've confirmed that did not happen. Hope I said that right. But she was asking if we had figured out.
Yeah.
Probably because of the title. And we had covered that earlier, but it doesn't look like anybody called it in recently.
Yeah. Did anybody wait? Sorry. What was the last thing you said there, Cal?
That no, it doesn't look like anybody called him in recently. Like tipped him in recently.
One second. Okay. Yeah. I pretended I was listening to you again. I asked you a question. Totally didn't freaking listen. Is that?
Hope I didn't interrupt you.
I'm so bad for that sometimes because it's kind of, I'm looking at a text that I can't really answer back right now because I hate multitasking. I do, even though I multitask all the time. But when I'm sitting here and I'm like freaking on my phone, yeah, because I have to talk back on my phone, freaking, and then whatever. So it's listen, I keep looking at it. I go, okay, I'll answer this in a bit. But the stupid thing was that I literally, legitly, this is where my husband gets pissy at me sometimes. I'm asking him a question, and then I'm totally start thinking about the Delphi case or something else, and then squirrel, and I'm like, oh shit. And my husband's like, just forget it. Just forget it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. So Kelly, I'm so sorry.
No. And I'm just trying to read chat when you have a little break like that to see if we're getting the
Absolutely.
questions answered.
Absolutely.
And,
good girl.
yeah,
Give me my breaks.
still stay on it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. But again, about the 20 million, they just have to prove why they're asking for that number, because they can't go into court assuming that he's going to get no bond. So they have to come up, the state has to come up with a number and why they feel like they can get that number. That's why I think he knows why they arrested him, and basically for what? Because I mean, he knows it's for murder, but I think he knows more about the evidence. Maybe he didn't tell his parents that. Who just said his parents are saying he didn't know any of this. But in order for the bail to be set, he had to be in the room. He's in the room. They're asking for bail. They have to say why they're asking for that number. And so I believe that he heard some of what's in the PCA, if not all of it. And then the judge says no bond. But he may be communicating to his family and his wife because he was probably in total shock. I have been through some major stuff, and I can't tell you, I literally, like, your mind kind of turns off. And so he might not have heard it all. He might not have understood it all. He could have been in shock that day. But he has some clue about this stuff, because they couldn't have asked for $20 million bond, and the judge couldn't have denied it without him knowing what was going on. That alone would be like major red flags.
Yep. And what else do you see there? Callie?
Trying to read and talk. I'm not as good at this as you are, man. You're really good at this. I'm not used to doing this.
No, I'm not.
I'm just glad I figured out how to read chat without having YouTube make that in the background.
Oh yeah. No. You know what? I mean, this live, we'll stay on for like another 10 minutes, and then we'll get off. So if anybody has any more thoughts that they want to do, my eyes are getting a little bit tired now, actually. Anyway,
Alexis said they're going to show this search document, or somebody said that. Would that be something that waits for trial for the search warrant, or is that something that we may get a glimpse at once the PCA is made public? Does anybody know that? Like, you know how we got the details on the Ron Logan search warrant? Would we be getting that early on for this guy? Or do we
somebody else really? I mean, I'm assuming they have a copy of the arrest warrant, and if it's leaked, but it's not going to wind up in the public unless it's leaked out there somehow.
And at this point, as much as we all want the information, we probably don't want anything leaked. We don't want that.
No.
We don't want that happening.
The only thing I think should be released is what should be public record after the arrest. And the only reason I want that released is because I don't want a defense attorney to come up with some way of putting that in a position of that hurting his case.
Yeah.
And having any reason for the case to not go through like we want it to.
Yeah, I understand that. I think the media is going to make that happen. Their legal teams will fight this, whether it's right or wrong, they're going to fight that. I know that already.
Yeah.
One of them, I think it was Fox, already said they were going to.
Oh,
I want to say it was Fox. Don't quote me on it, but definitely one news outlet up there has already said they will be pursuing this harder.
I believe
that might have been on Murder Sheet.
That's Fox 59, right?
That was Fox 59, yeah.
It was that on Murder Sheet, Sonny? I think that was on. They said that. Yeah, he did. Kevin said that they will. He knows of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on the episode.
Well, they were able to get some information from the reporter from 59.
Probably, yeah.
They came right out and thanked him and made it public that that's one of the people that they actually speak with. So.
Oh, right. They did at the end this time. They did actually list two media outlets publicly tonight. They did.
But they publicly thanked the actual person by name at 59. Right, his name just slips my mind at the moment, but it's in their broadcast. So.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of telling that they actually came out and named somebody that they were getting information from a news source. That was a little different.
Hmm.
It was interesting. A couple nuggets. I think I got more information out of CD's life, to be honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was good to have confirmation that nobody did recently tip him in. So every day, a few more nuggets seem to be coming out, and by
Well,
the 22nd, we'll probably know everything, right?
I was gonna say, I mean, at the end of the day, like there's little nuggets that aren't being said for sure. Because again, it becomes about, trust and what you hear and what you know, and those nuggets can be available to when people receive them, because there's nothing worse than saying that even though you have a reliable source to it, um, but still, if you don't want to put it out there, you just really want to wait the short period that we have to see if it's true or not,
Right.
if it comes to fruition. um, so let's see if it comes to fruition on the 22nd or whatever. If what we're hearing is true, that it will be unsealed and stuff like that. Because Carter said 2 weeks as well, makes sense. Chances are it will be unsealed, but it's not. It's not. But
Mhm.
what we're hearing is that it is. And like I said, going by what Doug Carter had made mention to, that sounds pretty probable that it will be unsealed in a couple of weeks' time, which is pretty much from when he said it. So that would make sense to me, that it would be unsealed. And if it's not, like I said, then it's not. But you know, somebody asked quickly what was on the picture I was trying to show. So yeah, sorry, I brought this up a while ago. What I was trying to show is, so again, from the crime pictures that I've personally been always looking at, which I do all day. I do it throughout the day. Like when I say I'm doing nothing at Cali, it means I'm staring at pictures typically.
I know.
That's my doing nothing thing, because I just go back. But anyways, this is what I'm saying is that the knife is there, in say supposed one victim's, throat area, which we've heard for a long time. That's not a big shocker. It's this is where I have to block it and go, look, I'm not, I can't deal with that side of it because that part's too sad. But I'm focusing on what's at the crime scene and what story it was going to tell. So that's what I'm saying. Like I have a better picture than this one, where it literally shows you the little thing that's on the head right here. But this is the cat. This is like this little cat animal. And you, like I said, people just would have to understand when you're trying to deal with this, and then you get to a place where you can show wherever that picture went now. I gotta find it and then show that, right? um, then it's kind of like I said, he like, I'm pretty sure that's not pareidolia to me. That's legitly a stuffed animal of what looks to be a cat, but I could, in another picture, I could literally make out that little. I'll call it a skull. Us like this is like you guys can see right here, right? Like even on your worst eyes, you guys can see like what is like a collar or a leash or a harness of some sort. But right here, there's like this scully looking metal. I've showed a picture of it. I see it this way. I wasn't planning on this stuff today, so I'm not gonna pull it all up right now. But that's like to me, it's like okay, catfishing. That makes sense, you
Mm.
know, bunny. I think of the cryptic note and stuff like that. KD is the bomb, Palladino. You have your star, you have a lot of things that point towards Kokomo, right? In reference to the Vice Lords or whatever. Who knows? Like I said, it will all play out, but in the meantime, I just don't sit back on my butt picking my nose. I just keep looking and looking, to see. I just want the truth to be told. And as we all wait for some answers to come our way, I'll just keep diving. So behind that is like said right here, like that looks similar to that object that he had in the backyard. I don't want to say it for sure is, but it's pretty darn close because I have a better picture of this as well. But again, it's one of those things that certain things I don't mind saying, just like you can see it. You guys don't know it, but there's this object right here as well. Um, there's cameras on this crime scene. Not just one, there's a few. I don't even know how many, to be honest with you. This crime scene was either fake recorded or recorded. I believe it was recorded because there's a camera on the BG's head. There's multiple items that are on the BG's arm and head. Um, there's everything. It even looks like, I don't want to say that he has this because I haven't confirmed it myself, but there's like what looks to be, and it could be a voice changer, like meaning Richard Allen guy, obviously probably knew a lot about electronics and different things. I'm going to give him that probably. He probably knew a lot about freaking porn and all that stuff too, or CP and stuff.
You know, it's kind of a funny thing that you say that with knowing about computers. In the past, we always considered somebody's intelligence with the quality of their handwriting.
Yeah.
But in these newer generations here, it's the opposite because nobody really writes anymore. So you can't judge sloppy writing by intelligence.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's true. Um,
I mean, they don't even teach cursive writing in school anymore. That was a huge deal with my daughter in school, that they wanted to teach it. The state wouldn't let them, so they actually made it part of art.
So they actually made it what?
They made it part of art class.
Well, nowadays kids don't really have to use their brains because they have calculators to do that for them, and they have the internet as their Bible. Like, in all fairness, like they really don't have to do it like we had to do it old school. But times will change at a point for them too, when maybe they just got to talk to something, like, I mean, they do. Here's a watch that freaking calculates everything for you.
Nothing's handwritten anymore. Everything's either typed or
Yeah. I mean, heck, when somebody says to me, "Can you fax this?" I'm like, "Fax? Freaking what dinosaur age are we still in here?" But yeah, I'm just gonna pull in one more picture just because I feel like it, actually. But I have to go get it first. I'm just gonna pull in this. So, let's just do this. So Richard smokes Marlboro Lights. Now, granted, this is in 2022. Marlboro Lights are white tipped. They're white tipped Marlboro Lights. My POI, though, just saying, smokes brown tipped. Doesn't matter, regardless of what POI it is. But Richard Allen smokes white tip Marlboro Lights. And you can see it kind of from his ashtray too. And you can see it from the pack that he has. But the BG has brown tipped cigarette. I mean, I can zoom in here so close that you can see the darn specks on, how a brown cigarette has the little brown specks to it? The little brown speckies. Well, if you've ever been a smoker, you guys know that, right? So it just becomes about, okay, if you guys want to see, cigarette in somebody's mouth as they're walking along, with, like I said, how close do you want it? Round tip, cigarette. So, I think that's a pretty good visual. And the people are going, oh, I think it's a toothpick and stuff like that. Nah, toothpick's not fatty like that. But that's why people would see smoke in some of the pictures, probably, when they get that little bit of smoke. I can understand that now why. So that's probably no, it's not. I don't know what brand it is. I'm going to, like, if it's according to my POI, this would be Red Eagle. What is it? Red Eagle Short? I think it was. So Red Eagle Short would be like, it has like the little silver bands right here, which I can see the first band. But I'm just saying, regardless that this BG is smoking a brown tipped cigarette, not a white tipped like Richard Allen smokes, but who knows what brand Richard Allen was smoking in 2022. I just want someone to show me something that literally, besides people going, oh, that's definitely him, or it looks like him. There's a lot of people still that look like him. And I just want someone to show me still that, that I sit here and look for a couple years, can find all these markings on my POI, and even find a similar smoking, like a similar color of smoking thing. Why can't I find the same thing with Richard Allen? So I just want to know that at the end of the day, whatever Richard Allen's role is, it doesn't matter. If he's the one that actually physically murdered the girls and the BG had no part of it, or, well, I shouldn't say no part of it, but I just want to know that the proper people are being prosecuted. But I want someone to, like, seriously, I want it to come along. Like, I want to see what they have. I want to see a better picture than that crap ass picture that they've shown us for the last 5 years. They have a better picture. And if they don't, well, I'll be amazed. Do you think that they have a better picture, Callie?
Oh
And
yeah, 100%. They have a better video. I think Mr. Steve has shown it well in some of his really detailed videos. He was able to just do a study on the type of gun that was likely in the possession of the bridge guy, and it looks like it was a Glock. And I think that that's probably what everybody's agreeing to now, is that they found, or they're looking for, a Glock, or a 45 would also be, like who just said 45 would also be very square at the end like that.
Mhm.
But I think they have clear video. I only know that they're not going to show anything closer than that because the girls would be in it. That I know. They will not show the victims in the photo. We barely get a piece of Abby's jacket.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only reason they don't let us see. Now, that would be shown to a jury, but it would not be shown if it was televised. That still would never be shown to the public.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like I say, at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm still yet to figure that out. I sat here each and every day going, okay, dude, I got your face. Let me find those markings. And it's not like there isn't a few, because there's always a few. But I'm just like, like I said.
Well, just his eyes. I mean, the eyes from what you've pulled up off the picture of the person on the bridge and the eyes of Richard Allen do not match at all.
Don't match.
Even if somebody can't see the moles, I mean, I do not have good vision enough to see it unless it's really pulled up by you. The eyes are very clear, and the mouth to me is very clear. The shape of the mouth.
Same, but the eyes. How do you have this, and then you have some guy whose eyes are so close together that are like this, and then you have like legitimately the BG's eyes that kind of, like, it's meaning here. It's like verbatim. It was like verbatim, was it not? And then again, but people, it doesn't matter. It wasn't, like I said, I'm just showing what I'm showing. But you like it or lump it or don't want, who cares? It's your own prerogative. I'm just showing what I'm showing. I just want truth to be told. That's it. Out of all of this, I just want the truth to be told. And I'll be damned if, like for me, it's like, okay, fine. But why does this guy look like this? And why does this guy's thing, from cigarette to freaking eyes to everything, match him? Like, is someone playing a freaking wicked joke on me that I'm this fucking stupid? Like, seriously. Like, I'm confused. I'm confused, like a lot of people. This Richard Allen, what you gonna do?
No, I think it's just got to play out. But somebody in chat back a little while ago was saying, so you don't think BG is Richard Allen? The point that Sunny is making is, I think everybody believes that the killer was Richard Allen based on what he's been charged with. Okay. But there is also a possibility that whoever is on the bridge may not be the person that actually did the killing.
Absolutely.
So nobody here is saying that BG isn't Richard Allen. It's just you got to separate it out a little further, because there's somebody walking on the bridge and there's somebody that killed him. Maybe it's the same person. Maybe it's not. Kind of goes along the line with the whole Keegan Kline, Anthony Shots line. We still don't know how that fits into it.
It's confusing, as honestly.
It's a big, giant riddle right now. And I think the PCA will give people a hint. Doesn't mean, they've made it really clear they're looking for more people, or they're open to talking about more people. They left the tip line open. They encouraged more tips.
Right.
So.
Right. It's just, to me, it's whatever. I'm at the whatever point. Whatever comes our way, thank you. As long as it brings answers for Abby and Libby. That's all I care about. That's all. That's literally all I care about. Just Abby and Libby. just like Ray Hanish. They just deserve justice. They were murdered. They were killed. They just deserve to have who's ever involved prosecuted. And if it's one person, 5 people, whatever, they just all deserve the justice. This is for Abby and Libby. It's a contract between nobody else. It's between myself and Abby and Libby. What I said that I promised that I was going to do to make sure that they were that that for me. Do you understand? It was me saying to them, girls, I'm going to keep fighting for you because Libby, you left a video. You gave the gift of a video. And even as blurry as shit as that video is, you still left a video. That was something. And that something is going to be the demise of, anyone that's responsible. That's what I fight for this whole time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not for anybody else. It's not for any YouTuber out there. It's my thing for Abby and Libby that was my promise to them. That thing that I would just keep fighting. And if it meant, again, if I'm wrong, so be it. So be it. Life, whatever. Learn my lesson, take my licks, take my lumps, whatever. But I'm just saying my determination comes from fighting for justice for Abby and Libby. And if I have to, has there been a big learning curve for me? I've only been doing this for, I'd say 2.5 years. I followed 2 cases, Suzanne Morpheus and the Delphi. And that's only because the Delphi was the first one I seen. I'm not sitting here, splitting my time with all these other cases. I just can't multitask like that. Well, I don't want to multitask like that, in a sense. But it's been from the deepest place, the core of my heart, to look at those 2 girls' faces, to feel such sadness that those 2 girls did not make it home that day. And if Richard Allen is deemed, as the actual one that did the killing of the 2 girls, whatever, dude, I want someone to knot your nuts every single day. I want a rat to sneak into your jail cell. I don't want you to die, literally. I want you to get fed, feces for dinner every darn day. I want you to pay for what you did to the 2 beautiful girls that went out to the bridge to meet someone and never made it back home. That's what I want. Justice for Abby and Libby. So,
Amen.
That's where my fight is. Anyways. Okay, last thoughts. Lewis and Callie, what's your last thoughts?
I'll let her go first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just also want to say that I didn't want anybody to think I was rude not coming on camera, but she literally asked me right as you guys were starting. I had already, as Nicole always says, done my skincare and had my jams on. So next week she's invited me to be on Thursday, and I will be here and I will be visible. I didn't want you guys to think I was being rude.
You're always rude.
But I also didn't want to scare the heck out of you.
Right. No, I love you, girlie.
Thanks, Sunny. That was awesome.
No, thank you so much. I mean, it just, I know Adam, Adam's always here to, throw in his humorous sarcasm as well. So now I have to rely on you guys to help along that way until he gets back as well. But no, it's been a pleasure, of course, having, honestly, I like having different people talking with different things, and, because everyone brings something different to the table of thoughts and stuff like that. And, answers will come, there's been an arrest. So at least that's a start. We'll see where it takes us, and at the end of the road, at the end of when everything's all said and done, which is going to be years from now, it's just that Abby and Libby, like Karina, McClurkin, can be laid to rest, in a sense, properly. That this hovering of who done it and why, that there will be some sort of closure for that. It's so heartbreaking, and we know this as being parents. You could never imagine something like this happen to your child. So that's why people are in this community. It's because there's different things that impacted them to bring them over here. There's usually something within that person that is why they came into true crime. Maybe they're just simply interested in whatever, but usually there's something that brought them over to here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so go ahead, Lewis.
I'm just hoping that when the 22nd hits, we're not disappointed with what happens, and I think that the public needs a little bit of closure as to what led up to the arrest. Otherwise, people are just going to keep speculating, and no one's going to be happy with that in the long run.
Oz says, question. Does what IP person told me meet criteria for a tip? I wasn't there. They were. What does that mean?
I'm not sure.
What does IP, first of all, mean? Sorry, guys. I'm too tired to try to comprehend.
It could be Indiana police, or it could be like
Oh.
I think it might be Indiana police.
This one Indiana police told me meet criteria for a tip. I wasn't there. They were. Well, I mean, a tip's a tip, though. Like a tip's a tip.
Indiana Packers, she said. Okay, so does what Indiana Packers person told me meet the criteria? You know what, Aussie, if you think you have a tip, it doesn't matter what you think the criteria is, just tip it in. I think you're a woman, I'm not sure, but I hope so. I'm always sending you hearts. But anyway, if you think it's a tip, don't worry about criteria, right?
Definitely,
Louis,
definitely.
when you say that, Sonny?
Oh, yeah. There's no hearsay law when it comes to a tip.
Right.
Hearsay takes, precedence later, but if they've got some reason to investigate that tip because it matches something else, that's just more credibility in them going into that deep dive. And never hold back a tip. If you've got something, you're not wasting their time. They want tips. They requested it after the arrest. We want more tips. If you think anything connects, please send it in.
Thank you. Louis, can you do me one favor before we do end the live quickly?
Yeah.
We were talking, and I just want you to touch on it if you could. We were talking about the screams that were heard.
Yes.
I know that you had sent me a couple things on it about, what was being said. Do you just want to touch on that again quickly?
Well, this is all rumor and speculation because it's stuff that was posted online, but the most common statement that goes around is that screams were heard around 2 or 2:30 in the morning, and that somebody called the police, and the police said that they did not have anyone available to go out to look at that moment. And there's other statements that are online of people that actually said that they were the ones that called in the police. And I've come up with 3 different people. And the one rumor's always been that it was kids playing on a trampoline, but actually the people that were searching that wound up going and laying on the trampoline when they got home and talking were one of the 3 individuals that said they heard the screams. There was another searcher that said they heard the screams, and then there was supposedly a woman that lived over by the bridge that heard the screams. So you've got, if it's believable, 3 different people that heard the screaming at the same time, and at least one of them called the police, and the police said they could not respond to investigate. So it's an odd situation.
I agree with Hudis on this. I always heard that it's more true than not. Even what you showed me today, like I hadn't actually seen that part. But the person said, I just remember the one comment, I think Louis was, the one person said like, I see other people are talking about this too. On here. I'm glad I wasn't the only one or something like that.
Yes.
And so, it does seem, more credible about the screams. But what shocks me is the fact that they were too busy to come out. But yet we know that from Lesenby that they were sent out there because of that. What do you want to call it? Pinging of the phone or GPS of the phone?
Which happened right after the screaming. The time frame from what they said, both things happened between that 2 and 2:30.
Between that time.
Yeah. And then I've never found proof of it. There's always that other accusation that somebody saw a naked woman running out of the woods over by the road at that same time.
I dismissed that one.
But I've never found anything to back that up, which, that could be. But the one thing that I find interesting is the common statement is it was kids on a trampoline. And you actually had people back then that came out in line that said, no, We were on the trampoline in our backyard. We're the ones that heard the screaming. We called the police. And the people that were on the trampoline were in their backyard because they just came home from searching because they were part of the groups that were out looking for the girls.
I won't be shocked if the timeline is a different thing than what we've ever thought.
Yeah.
I will not be personally shocked whatsoever. Will anybody else?
No.
If the whole timeline is different, because we've heard some things. I mean, I've even heard something from, I'm not even going to say who I heard it from, but somebody that was really credible. Let's just put it that way. That, that the timeline is different. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Different timeline. I don't ever think it was just as simple as, down the hill, over the water we go, and boom. I don't. But you know what? We'll find out one day.
Yeah, this guy that say killed him had a family. He's not out at 2:30 in the morning. But there are two reasons why I think screams could be heard. And one is that it is possible the person that got less hurt of the two girls, it is possible could have gone into a coma, a lot of blood loss, and then possibly woken up, realized last minutes type thing.
Yeah.
Don't think the killer was still out there on any, for me personally, especially now that we know the killer is supposed to be Richard Allen. He would need to be home by then. But the other thing is, I was at camp one time when I was probably about 16. It was like a winter camp in Big Bear, California. I'm from out there. And we were in a dead sleep, the girls in this cabin, and we heard like I would still swear to this day would be a woman screaming. And we had no phones or anything back then. Yeah, I'm dating myself. But anyway, we had to go find the camp leaders and walk out there in a group to try to figure out. It was like a coyote killing a rabbit. They found it the next day. And apparently when a rabbit's getting killed, it sounds like a scream of a woman. So knowing that I've heard that in my life, it could have been wildlife out there. Probably it might be the first scenario I just said, sadly. But I personally don't think the killer, especially knowing that killer was Richard Allen at this point, was out there in the middle of the night. And from what Mr. Steve said, it'd be nearly impossible to walk that at night for where they were at in the pitch black. But time will tell.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
What I would like to add to that is that was leaving by the cemetery. If you were going towards and following the creek, it would not be hard to do at night.
Yeah, but he probably wouldn't be out there. But even so, for the people that think that he took them, and we know now they weren't killed elsewhere. They were killed there, all of the blood. But for people that thought that maybe he took them and then brought them back in the middle of the night and killed them there at 2:30 in the morning, that would be a lot more screaming, in my opinion, than a scream at 2:30.
Well, hold on a second though. That's not necessarily true at all, because in Ron Logan's thing, Callie, they distinctly say that the bodies were placed there. That does not negate the fact that they maybe freaking killed a pig in that section. There's blood and crap all over the crime scene. Do you know what I mean? Meaning they already said that the bodies were moved. They wouldn't have asked the psychic lady that worked with them, how were the bodies moved? They wouldn't just go, oh, well, here, they just moved them 2 feet away, right? So the crime scene might be full of blood everywhere, cracked. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were killed there, because in that Ron Logan affidavit, it literally tells you that they weren't killed right in that spot. They were killed, I believe, within the crime scene, but not in that spot where they were.
Yeah, I think I don't know where. I believe that they only killed him and then moved him a few feet to stage him, pose him.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I didn't know that they didn't already know that wasn't Libby and Abby's blood there, that it was animal blood. That I've never heard.
No, well, what I'm saying is that, when it's being said that the crime scene was bloody, that's just us assuming that is just their blood and they're being cut there, when really it could be whether it's animal blood, whether it's, you know what I mean, whether it's blood because that the blood that they had just seeping out. Who knows? Who knows? But like I said, That will come out.
Going to that with the blood there, what I think a lot of people overlook is that the injury that allowed the blood to drain out didn't have to be while they were alive. I actually think that the neck wounds were post-mortem. I think that they were, their lives were taken before that happened.
I do too.
Yeah, because I think if you were trying to move them from what the leaked information is on how severe the injuries were, that it would not be what it was. I could see that as part of the staging.
Hmm.
To maybe cover up neck wounds. And then when you did that, any hunter knows you make that cut and then you allow the animal to bleed out. So I think you would have had so much arterial spray that it would have been a whole different crime scene from what it's been hinted as opposed to a lot of blood on the ground, which would be a post-mortem injury, allowing them to lay there and bleed out. I think
it would keep him from having blood on him.
Well, that goes.
If the heart's not pumping, he wouldn't have spray on him.
Exactly, and for the only reason they say that he had to have blood on him is the amount of blood loss that was there. But no one's ever mentioned the fact that that blood loss didn't have to be while there was the ability for it to spray. So the whole idea behind being covered in blood, I don't think is a factor, because he could be almost spotless, just transfer from touching, but nothing that would get all over him. And I think that's one thing they pointed out that I never felt comfortable with, because they described the crime scene afterwards as being meticulous and clean, and that everything was soaked into the ground. If it was the opposite, you would have seen them at least taking stuff from trees in order to get if you ever see that kind of an injury, it is a lot of spray. And the way those trees and stuff were, I think they would have actually taken stuff to bring in. I don't think they would have left bark and
This is where the coroner's report is going to be important, because it will talk about avidity. So that's going to be where obviously the time of death will be on there, but the lividity on there too, which will explain a lot of that. But those are great points.
There's so many things that could offset time of death by temperature, because we don't know what exactly happened. I mean, if this happened while they were in the water and they were strangled and they were left there and they cooled down quicker, and then they were pulled out of the water and it was staged, you'd have a whole different internal body temperature than if it was all done on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think that the coroner's report's going to be as accurate as we want it to be, because it's a guesstimate of what happened.
Well, avidity is how the blood pulls in the body, and how long it takes for it to pull in the body. So they get the temperature from the liver normally.
Yeah.
That could be affected by outside factors, but the way the blood pulls, that's different. So,
well, we also don't know when the wounds were made. If they were within a short amount of time, you might not have that much lividity. I mean,
I'm gonna go get my freaking doctor's degree on Google tonight. I swear to God.
It just always makes me want. I know it's a science, but I don't think it's an exact enough science, because of the different conditions that you had out there that day. Warm to cold, there's so many things I think that could affect it.
How many times have we heard that Abby's body was still warm in the morning and stuff?
Well, and that brings up what you had said earlier about the scream coming from that. If the rumors are true that there was a head injury, maybe she was not passed at that time and did come to. Now, I don't know if anyone's experienced this with animals before with pets. I have with several that have passed. And when an animal suddenly passes, sometimes they cry out extremely loud at the point of passing. I've had it happen with 2 cats and a dog. And it is scary as can be when you hear that. And that could be a very likely possibility that scream was heard at that 2 to 2:30 mark because of that. If you were left there injured as bad as it could have been, but not completely passed,
Yeah, your body protects itself. I've always thought that since I heard about the screams when I first learned this, that it was likely the one that had, I don't want to say names, the one that had the less injury. That I mean, the other.
We know with the one injury that it was completely improbable that would have happened, but with the other one, it's hinted that there was a massive head injury, which could have caused, you might have not passed physically, but not been in any condition to survive.
Yeah. And that's kind of been rumored when they thought that, what was it, the autopsy or something was released several months ago, that there were head injuries. And people always say, well, why would the girls go with the guy? And they probably ran, but even if not, he had control of them either with the fear of a gun or he hurt them to make them follow commands. And sad as that is, we won't know until this, all. And we don't necessarily need to know that either. I just want to make sure that no matter what, if it's one person, if it's two persons, if it's three, however it is, like you keep saying, Sonny, they need justice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The particulars, I don't think we really need to know, but the fact that they keep so much other stuff quiet, everybody starts to dig deep, and these other things do come up, and then it's discussed. And if they would give more information that was fact, you would have less people speculating on the things that nobody wants to hear.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just curious though. Why this one still bugs me that I even seen it the other day. Not the other day, a few weeks ago. It still bugs me. When Lewis, who was it that put out that picture? The picture where there was one body found here.
Oh, that original document. That was one of the county safety and whatever websites. Yeah, I think I sent that to you a long time ago. I just forget what the actual Facebook page was that put that out, but they showed 2 pin drops with 2 locations and 2 separate. That.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a Facebook. It was, what was it called though? It had more. It wasn't just like a Facebook. It was
no, but it's an actual but they actually have a Facebook page too, and I just can't remember the name of it.
But when I seen it, it really bugged me because I'm like, hold on, that literally came out like right when the girls died, and they legitimately had one body circled here and one body circled like over here.
Yeah,
it was something like that, and I'm like, huh. Okay.
2 pin drops, both of them were close to the water, but different locations.
But yet their bodies were found here, So it was one of those things that it came right out. And Tara German shared the post.
Yeah.
If I recall. And I'm like, one body here, one body was over here. And I'm like, well, where the hell did that come from at all? Actually, if anyone might know, where the hell did that come from? And Freckle Joy, I messaged you on Messenger, by the way. You didn't even look at it, just saying. Call you guys, see you later, canceled. We are too far away. I'm posted, so we'll get another one soon. Okay. Wherever you are going. But yeah, so I'm curious who dissed. You can put them. You can't pull them from online in Indiana unless they're certificate. And you know what? I don't know about you guys, but that supposed coroner's report, I personally never seen it. Has anybody else ever seen it yet? And you guys, do you admit to it even if you did? And if you did, message me.
I had information in a private member's YouTube, so I won't really say where right here, but yeah. But Lewis said it earlier pretty much. So
I mean,
yeah.
I've had private information, but I've never seen a physical document.
I haven't seen it, but the person was reading it. Yeah.
And that's why for me, it's like, I'm not going to overly believe it until I legitimately see this document.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I'll listen to what's being said. That's pretty much about it. But I'm just, but I no, and Julia didn't see it either.
Can I say
so? Go ahead.
Sorry, Andrea was asking about the different dates between the girl's time, death and etc. One says the 13th, one says the 14th. I can explain this pretty easily. That in the state of Indiana, they allow the family to either put the date as the date they died or the date they were found. So in one case, on only one document, Abby's mom chose to use the 14th. But I believe both the headstones say the 13th. I've seen them.
Yeah, the headstones say the 13th.
Yeah, and so I think it was on the either the obituary maybe, but either way, it's only because in that state they allow the parent to pick the date, whether they went, died on this day, which is what the coroner said, or the day they were found. So if that was 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, the family can choose it for the document.
And both of their gravestones say the 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of their gravestones have the 14th because I literally have the pictures of the gravestones.
I thought they said the 13th, but either way, it's that's
14th.
why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have to look back now because it's well now that you got me guessing there. So whether it's the 13th or the 14th, they're both the same day.
Yep.
That they have on the gravestones. Just because I remember getting those not too long ago. I've never posted them because apparently a long time ago Anna was really upset about it. Somebody did post it because she felt like that was her right. Each to their own how they feel for sick, but I've never posted them for that. Just like I've never, like, I didn't actually see the conversation. But no, actually, I think I did hear her say something like that in an interview where she was like that's mine in a sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've never crossed that boundary of that because it's like, okay, since I heard it, like, I mean, if I would have shown them and didn't know, but I don't need it. I don't think, like, I mean, I kind of see it two ways there, but because I heard her say it, then I'm obviously not going to sit there and show them,
Right.
I just had respect for the fact that I heard her say that. So I was like, okay, maybe Becky doesn't feel the same way. Who knows? Or maybe Carrie doesn't feel the same way. Who knows? But either way, just hearing that Anna say it, I was like, okay, they're just my own knowledge. I just wanted to see them, see both the dates. And it was because of the dates, I believe, is why I went and searched that out, because I knew that there was the law that you just spoke about in there. And I remember seeing the question. I was like, oh, well, let me just go find that out myself, see what the actual answer was. And, like I typically do. Anyways, it's time to go, guys. I need to go. I said this a while ago, but you know what?
Be up in 5 hours.
You have to be up in 5 hours?
Yeah, it's no problem.
Ooh, but it's a holiday tomorrow here. Isn't it not a holiday there?
No, Friday is a what do you call it, federal holiday, but I don't have Friday off work. Like the banks are closed and the veterans facilities are closed.
Yeah.
But I still work. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I'm thinking today's Wednesday. Yes, tomorrow is what do you call that, Lewis? A federal holiday?
Yeah.
But not every employer honors that. That's why they give you like a floating holiday. So if it's important to you, you can use it for that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was going to say for us, like it was a year ago today that my brother-in-law landed, like I was saying yesterday on yesterday's live, and he's from England. My husband's from England. My brother-in-law came out last year. So today's been a year, and tomorrow is Remembrance Day. For us. So that's the day that so it's our day to remember the veterans, is Remembrance Day. That's for the Poppy Day. And so, oh God, I love poppy cake. How did I think about it? But so as we were a kid, did you guys ever hear that same song? Like, it was always like, where have all the flowers gone? Like that song,
No.
Long time ago. You never heard that? That's how we grew up hearing in school all the time, where have all the flowers gone? That's what it's called. So that was always
a Canadian base.
I guess.
Or something?
Well, I guess. I just honestly didn't know if it was like, a U.S. one as well. Like if that was a thing that you guys, because I wasn't sure if it was like a North American thing, but it was always what we had to listen to in schools. And my grandma was actually, even though she's passed away now, but she was born on Remembrance Day. So I can never forget that. And, I had to actually tell my husband on the 5th, I was like, husband, remember the month of November. And he's like, yeah, that's today, Guy Fawkes, like, which is November 5th. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, ours is for November 11th, but but okay, it still falls in the same month. But yeah, so yeah, so ours is about the red poppies. So because my grandma was born on that day or whatever, I always had
Aw.
like her little poppy and stuff like that. And I would just ring. I had bought her a bell, like one of those servant bells that you would be like, husband, get your ass in here, ding ding, wife's calling. One of those bells. So
Yeah.
when I lived in this one place, I would walk down the stairs and I'd see this little mantle, and it would have my grandma's door draft dog on it that I bought her when I was a kid, her bell, her poppy, and a picture of my grandma. And I would just come downstairs like, it was one of those stairs where you come down about 6 stairs and you hit the landing and then you come down another 3 stairs or 4 stairs or whatever. So every morning when I come down the stairs, I'd be like, hey, Graham, how are you? And some days I'd be like, Grandma, wake up. Ding, 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 ding. So it was my little thing that would be like, hey, Grandma, how's it going today? All right, have a great day. It was my little thing, And then that's when one day I was like, Grandma, is there another side? Do we truly live on, Grandma? This was back in 2001, and that was my first experience that I can say as an adult that that same day I was looking for something totally different, and I found her obituary that I'd been missing for about 6 months. But you'd have to understand, like, this was, but the experience that was a year after that was Jaron, and literally telling me the 2 words things, or I would say that was my most memory of remembering that. Hey, you know what? Freaking really, we can talk to you, dead people. Sweet, thank you. Now I'm just like, hey, Mom. And I go outside, and this is when I did smoke, but I don't smoke anymore. I just vape now. But anyways, and I would go outside, I'd be like making my little O's, and I'd be like, hey, Mom, just sending you some smoke signals up there, I mean, I just do it lightheartedly because it's like, to be honest with you, now that I say this, I have not been to my mom's gravesite since she died. And why? I never even thought about it, to be honest, because I see my mom's picture that I drew of her every day. I don't need to go to the cemetery to talk to my mom. I don't need to do that to feel, do you know what I mean? It's like she's bones in the ground. But to me, it's the memory of my mom. So I never felt like I needed that thing to go to like, just like my grandma, I don't need to go to the cemetery. For me, I just don't need to, because I, like I said, I have a picture of that I made of my mom. I talk to that all the time when I miss my mom. It's more about the memory for me. But some people need that outlet to go to the cemetery, and honestly, it's only because I'm talking about it right now. I just realized that my mom died in 2015, and I've been to the grave once because I just never felt that connection that I needed to go to a graveyard to think about my mom or my grandma. I just always do that through talking, however you want to deem that.
Some people accept it like praying to God.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually be at a church. You can do it in your bedroom, anywhere, and you've got that link. Other people just need to have that visit. They need to connect.
Yeah. For some people, it's like, okay, the body's in there. That's where it lays, and they go visit it. And I get that. Absolutely. I don't like sadness. I would be probably more, I just like to celebrate. The sadness was that my mom's not here, but I like to celebrate the memory of my mom and think of the positive things. And then I just talk to her, like I said. So it's my personal way that I deal with things. Some people hate going in hospitals. Like, I just don't know.
If you believe in an afterlife and you figure that you have to go there to speak to them, then that means they're still stuck here and there's a problem.
Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, you guys, it's time to go, like I said, right? Because we're going to totally kill it underneath the 4-hour mark here. And you guys.
I know it went fast.
What did you say?
It went so fast.
Time really does fly.
That's crazy.
Well, there goes that short 1-hour live tonight.
Yeah. I do want to say a happy Veterans Day to everybody out there that are veterans. I know they'll cover this tomorrow or Friday night, but I won't be here. But I do want to say thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know my grandpa and all that were in the service and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, so for us tomorrow is Remembrance Day. Or you guys call it Veterans Day,
Yes,
you said? And yours is on Monday?
tomorrow
Or oh,
actually.
it is tomorrow. Okay, so it is tomorrow. So okay, I was thinking in my head like Easter for you guys.
I
Sometimes you
probably
have.
got you confused, but they canceled all of our stuff here because of this storm. You know, the hurricane that went.
Oh,
Well, wasn't a
okay.
hurricane here, but yeah,
Yeah.
the country's Veterans Day is tomorrow or Friday
Okay.
today.
Well, yeah. So prayers to everyone that fought for
Yeah,
our freedom, fought for our lives, and continues to be honest with you. Um, yeah. So you guys, thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night. And other than that, thank you, Lewis, and thank you, Callie, for coming on tonight, and thank you,
Thank you.
Chat, for
thanks for having me.
joining. Yeah, and thank you to the new subscribers. And yeah, and I'm just gonna drop the bio link one more time, guys, just as we leave chat here. The bio link is where you can find the merch site, where you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. Go to the bio link. Bio link is always in the description of this video if you want to check it out. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Take care. Thank you, Isaiah, for your donation tonight. Thank you very much for he's always like following me. So thank you very much for being a personal stalker of mine. No, just kidding. Thank you. No, anyways, night Ozzy, night Zendaya, night BGH, whoever else. Never peace, not silence. Thank you, mods, for always, like I said, saying hit the like and all that. So if you guys could hit the like on this video, that would be great. If not, oh well, right? Take care, guys. Have a great night.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
Good night.
Night. Night, John boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Waltons, I remember that.